Chapter 1039. Let the teacher go and I'll give it to you. Lisa was secretly absorbing the heat in the room. Give it to me or I'll kill him. Lisa hesitated and took out Nosamara's all. Rissa always carried the Noxamara cone with her. Let the teacher go first and I'll give it to you, Lisa said. Nader looked at the gunman behind Lisa. The gunman reached for Nosamara's all. However, the moment he came into contact with Nosamara's copper awl, he was scorched. Ah! It's hot. Lisa released the heat in her body onto Nosamara's awl. It also turned Nosamara's awl into a soldering iron. Lisa grabbed the gunman's gun while he was injured. But before she could shoot, Nader had already fired. Bang! Lisa was shot in the chest and fell to the ground. Nader walked up and picked up Nosamara's awl wrapped in cloth. Then Nader turned back and fired at Joe Baylor. Blood bloomed on Joe Baylor's forehead. Lisa couldn't make a sound anymore. Tears flowed from her eyes. She had never dreamed that she would kill Joe Baylor. The man who raised her for 11 years, took good care of her, and treated her like his daughter. But now, he died under a gun. Turn on the gas. Nader smiled at Lisa who wasn't dead yet. Poor girl. Boom. With a loud explosion, the house was blown into pieces. The two cars parked in front of the entrance drove away. Boss, we got it. Yes, we got Nosamara's all. The sound of fire engines, police cars, and ambulances could be heard. Lisa was still conscious. She could hear the paramedics in the ambulance. Lisa regretted everything, but what she lacked the most in the world was medicine for regret. A deep sense of regret lingered in her mind. Ha! That girl is gone. How is it possible? She just had surgery. Where can she go? The nurses in the ward searched inside and out, but they couldn't find Reisa at all. Lisa dragged her weak body. She couldn't hold back her tears and wet her cheeks. Regret mingled in her mind. What she couldn't accept the most was that even before Joe Baylor died, she didn't have the time to call him father. Revenge on those people. That was the only thing she wanted to do right now. Driven by hatred, her brain was working at full speed. Lisa took out a cell phone, which she had stolen. Lisa dialed the number of the communications company. Hello, I'm a Los Angeles police officer. My number is 054244. I'd like to check the recent communication records of a phone number. There were thousands of communication companies in the United States, unlike the two in China. Therefore, it was relatively easier to communicate and the process was also very simple. Moreover, the police were also a golden signboard in the United States, and they could investigate most of the information. Hello, do you need a ride? An annoying voice came over. Lisa turned around and saw Qin Zhao poking his head out of the car window. Why are you here? I'm here on behalf of the school to visit you. You look quite energetic, Qin Zhao said casually. Goodbye. Do you want to make money? A lot of money. You just borrowed $2 million from me. Do you still have money to hire me? Do you know about the Norton Simon Museum incident? Yes, I was near there that day. I know who has it. Oh, so what? It's a cultural relic worth at least $300 million. Don't you want it? If you're talking about $300 million in cash, I'm interested. But cultural relics, Qin Zhao didn't think that cultural relics were worth an astronomical amount. Most of them were speculated, just like diamonds. Of course, the value of some cultural relics was just a number estimated by some experts. If someone bought it, that would be the true value. If no one bought it, then it was just an estimate. Most cultural relics were sold for far less than their estimated value. Only a small portion with real historical and archaeological value, as well as extremely rare cultural relics, had that value. Actually, on the night of the Norton Simon Museum incident, Jessie and I were also planning to steal it. Lisa didn't hide anything. She told Chen Zhao about her actions that day and the accident that had happened. Chen Zhao really didn't think that a kid like Lisa could be so ambitious. Stealing from a national museum wasn't something that just anyone would have the guts to do. As long as you help me find those people, I can help you plan another theft. Of course, if you want to rob, I can help you too. Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. Do you have some misunderstanding about me? If I really need money, I can rob a bank directly. Why would I rob a museum? Okay, kid, get out of my sight before I call the police. In Chen Zhao's eyes, Lisa was out of her mind. I don't want the $2 million I invested to go to waste. You'll regret it. You'll regret missing out on a huge sum of money. Goodbye. Even without you, I can do it alone. Lisa watched Chen Zhao's car leave. Her brain worked rapidly again. Just then, she received a message from the communication company. It was Jesse's call records for the past few days. From Jesse's call records, he'd only talked to her and Vaka in the past few days. This meant that Jesse was probably planning to sell the items to Vaka. Then Vaka would leak the information. Vaka definitely knew who those people were. West, I want to ask you about something. What is it? Do you know about the Norton Simon Museum incident? President, you didn't do it, right? If it was me, it wouldn't be the Norton Simon Museum, but a big bank in LA. West thought about it and realized that it was true. If Chen Zhao wanted to rob, he would definitely go to a bank. Instead of robbing a museum, the conversion efficiency would be too low. President, what do you want to ask? I found some clues. I want to know how much the lost relics are actually worth. President, we're a public department. Don't you think we should return the lost relics to the owners? That's meaningless. I wanted to use half of the money for our association's expenses. You should have said that earlier. West grew excited. He'd been following the Norton Simon Museum incident for a long time, so he knew the value of the lost relics. Out of the 4 lost relics, 3 of them are valued between 80 to 150 million USD. However, one of the romance rings was once offered 200 million USD by a tycoon, but he was rejected. Chapter 1040. Handing cultural relics to the country was something that only happened in TV shows. West was even more excited than Chen Zhao. 100 million was enough for everyone in the association to live a luxurious life for a few years. President, where's the thing? I don't know. You don't know. Didn't you say you have a clue? I know someone knows. I'm following her now. Her adoptive father was killed by the robbers and she's looking for revenge. Lisa had long sensed that Chen Zhao's car was following behind her. She stopped and turned to look at Chen Zhao in the car. The car stopped beside Lisa. She looked at Chen Zhao. Even if you want to follow me, can you be more discreet? Where are you going? I'll give you a ride. Jadina Casino. Lisa got into Chen Zhao's car. I heard that geniuses like you can win money in casinos through precise calculations, right? That's a matter of probability. You know that probability isn't always accurate, Lisa said indifferently. You can win, but the profits aren't as high as you think. For example, if you win more than $200,000 in a Las Vegas casino, the manager will ask you to leave. Then why are you going to the casino? The manager of Jadina Casino is a loan shark. So, you're going to borrow money from him? Lisa glared at Chen Zhao coldly. Her gaze grew colder and colder. Why are you following me? I'm just your driver. If you want a piece of the action, then bring your men. I don't need my men to deal with a lone shark. The car stopped before the casino and Chen Zhao and Lisa entered. Chen Zhao and Lisa's combination was rather eye-catching in the casino. Chen Zhao realized that Lisa was quite familiar with the place. It seemed that it wasn't her first time here. Lisa didn't stay in the casino. Instead, she entered a corridor and came to the back door. There were two men in black standing in front of the back door. Gentlemen, this is a private place. Also, minors aren't allowed in the casino. We're here to borrow money from Waka, Lisa said. Come in. The men in black moved aside. When Chen Zhao and Lisa were about to enter, the man in black stopped them again. You can't go in. Can't I? Chen Zhao looked at the man gloomily. You stay here, Lisa said calmly. Lisa enters the back door. She is also here for the first time. She discovered that it was a huge golf course. Luca was playing golf not far away. Hi, Lisa, why are you here? Lisa looked at Vodka with hatred in her eyes. I want to know who you leaked the information to when Jesse wanted to sell you the relics. Reisa paused and then continued, No, generally speaking, you will directly take over the relics in Jesse's hands instead of leaking the news, unless this person is your superior. Who are you working for? Luca looked at Reisa in surprise. Why didn't I realize that you are so smart before? Cut the crap. Tell me, who are you working for? Ha. Little girl, I advise you to leave now. You can't make me talk. Even if you know who that person is, you can't beat him. Lisa took out a grenade from her pocket. She pinched the spring and pulled off the safety ring at the same time. Tell me, who is that person? Seeing the grenade in Lisa's hand, Luca immediately wanted to run. You can't be faster than a grenade. Lisa's words stopped Luca from running. Luca's expression became unnatural. Lisa, you don't have to do this. You will only get yourself killed. Tell me, who are you working for? You will die, Luca warned. Vaka looked at Lisa, and he saw the look in her eyes that she was not afraid of death. Just then, a person walked over from the distance. To be exact, there were 3 people. Chen Zhao dragged 3 men in black toward them. I'm sorry, is this your subordinate? Chen Zhao threw the men at Luca's feet. They seemed to want to kill me just now. I'm frightened now. I need compensation. Luca's order was to kill Chen Zhao, even though he didn't know Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao walked toward Luca. Luca took a step back and Chen Zhao grabbed Luca's shoulder. Ah! Luca's shoulder was crushed. Lisa walked over and stuffed the grenade into Luca's mouth. Now, you have 3 seconds to think about it. Answer my question or refuse. Lisa stared at Luca coldly. Luca nodded repeatedly and made muffled sounds. Only then did Lisa take out the grenade. Luca was so scared that tears and snot flowed down his face. Chen Zhao took the grenade. Little girl, don't play with such dangerous things. Tell me, who are you working for? Bonner the collector. Chen Zhao picked up the phone. West, find Bonner the collector. President Bogner is a celebrity and very rich himself. He often auctions some items and donates the proceeds to charity. Gather the people. President, I'm the only one in the association. Where are they? They went out for a mission. They found a huge evil spirit nest in Camario and caused a lot of trouble for the locals. Gaio led a team to clean it up. Okay. Chen Zhao looked at Lisa. How about we go another day? My people aren't here today. Lisa glanced at Chen Zhao coldly. No need. I don't need your help. Do you need a driver? It's here. Chen Zhao looked at the Bonner clubhouse before him. You're obviously rich. What are you going to do? Lisa glanced at Chen Zhao. You can leave now. I can't. What if the next person goes in and takes it away? Do you think a girl like me can do it? You're smart. Smart people always have a lot of strange ideas. Maybe you really have a way. You've watched too many movies. Just then, a few people walked out of the opposite clubhouse. When Lisa saw these people, her eyes were filled with deep hatred. They pointed their guns at the car. Nader yelled, "Get out!" Chen Zhao and Lisa got out of the car. When Nader saw Lisa, he was surprised. You're not dead. I'm just the driver. This has nothing to do with me. Nader squinted at Chen Zhao. I remember you. You were there that night too. Nader, bring them in. Bonner's voice sounded in Nader's earpiece. Chapter 1041. Your decoration style is old. Your boss's taste must be stuck in the last century, Chen Zhao said as he looked around. Both Nader and Lisa's faces were dark. Oh, does your boss want to redecorate? I can introduce you to a company that specializes in big projects like this. Don't you need it? Chen Zhao muttered to himself. Shut up. Nader raised his gun and pointed it at Chen Zhao's head. Fine, I'll shut up. Chen Zhao pressed down on Nader's gun. Also, did you know that none of the people who pointed a gun at my head are still alive? No, I think there was one. I met a client a few days after I came to Los Angeles, but we became friends afterward. Nader nodded. Judging from your personality, we're not suitable to be friends, so you should be careful. Something bad might happen to you. After a pause, Chen Zhao asked, by the way, what are your hobbies and interests? Maybe we have a common language and can become friends like that person. Do you think I don't dare to kill you? It's illegal to kill. Lisa was speechless at Chen Zhao's pretense. I hope you can still be this relaxed when you see my boss. Nader lowered his gun. He suddenly felt that killing Chen Zhao like this would be too easy on him. He should let Chen Zhao meet Bonner. Chen Zhao's expression would definitely be very interesting. The hall was very large. The two walked for a full 10 minutes and were brought deep into the hall. Finally, both of them were brought to Bogner. In that gloomy room. Boss, they're here, Nader said. Bonner rose from the gloom. It's really dark here, Chen Zhao said seriously. It's not good for the eyes. Do you want it to be brighter? Yes. Bogner snapped his fingers, and the room suddenly lit up. Risa was startled when she saw Bogner. What are you? Ah! Chen Zhao screamed. So ugly. Bonner enjoyed the fear and panic that people felt when they saw him. But Lisa's calmness and Chen Zhao's description of him made him angry. Bonner held Nasamara's copperole. Lisa's gaze turned serious. She had a very bad feeling about Bonner. This person also knew the use of Nasamara's cones. He's the same as me. No. He might be even more powerful than him. The reason why Reisa dared to come alone was that she felt that she could compete with the other party with her own abilities. As long as he was careful, he would be able to take revenge. But after seeing Bonner, she stopped looking down on him. Lisa began to absorb the surrounding heat quietly. Why do I feel a bit cold? Chen Zhao touched his arms. At this moment, frost began to form on the doors and windows. You're actually the same as me. Bogner looked at Reisa in surprise. I see. No wonder you dared to meet me alone. I'm not your kind. Lisa looked at Bonner coldly. Hee hee. Bogner chuckled. Do you know what Noxamara's copper all is for? Reisa's brain began to work quickly. He really knew Noxamara's copper cone better than she did. In this world, there are very few people who have noble bloodlines. For example, me, and for example, you. Bogner looked at his palm. Noxamara's copper all can greatly strengthen one's bloodline. Of course, there's a fundamental difference between us. You need Noxamara's copper all to awaken, but I was born with it. From the moment I was born, I was destined to be stronger than you. In the past 50 years, my power has been constantly strengthening, but you've only just awakened. That's the difference between us. So Noxamara's copper all didn't give people superpowers. Instead, it activated one's bloodline. Now that Noxamara's copper all is in my hands, Bogner said proudly, I've obtained even greater power. I can feel the bloodline in my body boiling. This will also allow me to carry out an even greater plan. Reisa's hands suddenly spat out a wave of heat. The wave hit Bogner's chest directly. Boom! Bogner was sent flying. Seeing that his boss had been sent flying, Nader immediately raised his gun. But the next moment, he was pressed down by a hand. It's a bit cold here. Can you lend me your clothes? Nader looked at Qin Zhao. He didn't know when Qin Zhao had stood beside him. Nader raised his arm and wanted to swing at Qin Zhao, but Qin Zhao held his arm tightly. Let's continue our conversation. What do you like? I'll see if we can be friends. Veins popped on Nader's forehead, but he couldn't raise his arm. Nader kicked at Qin Zhao. Qin Zhao also raised his leg. Nader felt like he had kicked a steel bar. One of his legs was broken. His body fell to the ground. Qin Zhao took off Nader's suit and put it on. You're pretty big. Why is the suit so small? Qin Zhao felt that it was a bit small. But I feel much warmer in the suit. Qin Zhao sat on Nader and said to Reisa, I'll leave that guy to you. Leave this to me. Reisa glanced at Qin Zhao indifferently. I can do it without you. But just then, Bogner stood up. As if nothing had happened, Bogner twisted his shoulders. Very special bloodline power, but it's not enough. Far from enough. Reisa gathered more heat energy in her hands and shot it at Bogner. Bogner was sent flying again. Nice. You're a walking cannon, right? But Bogner stood up again. This time, his clothes were in tatters. A horn appeared on Bogner's right forehead, just like a demon. At the same time, the skin underneath was revealed. Just like half of his face, half of his body was also monstrous. His skin was blood red and there were obscure patterns on it. Go to hell. Reisa fired another heat cannon. But just then, Bogner's horn also shot out a red lightning bolt. This red lightning bolt was far more powerful than Reisa's heat energy cannon. Both attacks landed on each other. This time, Bogner only took a step back. But Reisa was sent flying. Reisa stood up with difficulty. There was blood at the corner of her mouth. See? This is the fundamental difference between us. Bogner smiled at Reisa. Chapter 1042. Reisa suddenly pulled open her clothes. Her clothes were filled with grenades. There were more than a dozen of them. This was how she got her revenge. Fuck, are you crazy? Qin Zhao yelled. Bogner's expression also changed slightly. But Reisa didn't waste any time. She pulled open the same rope that was tied to the grenades. Then, she charged at Bogner. Rumble, violent explosions filled the entire room. A few seconds later, the flames and shock waves gradually dissipated. The entire room was filled with the smell of sulfur and smoke. The wooden furniture was still burning. But surprisingly, Risa didn't fall. Risa was also astonished by her potential. She didn't absorb all of the grenade's explosions, but she did absorb some. At the same time, she formed a protective barrier around herself. Whoosh! Chen Zhao pushed Bogner away from him. Risa turned to look at him. You're not dead either. This guy was really tough. He didn't die even after all that. Even with that person as a shield, he shouldn't be able to survive such an explosion. If this person didn't die, then, Risa suddenly looked in Bogner's direction, but he was nowhere to be seen. The next moment, Risa felt a sense of danger. The moment she turned around, Bogner actually pounced at her from behind. The heat from Risa's palm shot out as if it were real. She'd absorbed a lot of heat just now, which filled her body with power. She looked like a mess, but she was actually stronger than before. Bogner, on the other hand, was in a much worse state. He was covered in wounds. Risa's heat beam struck Bogner's body, and he was sent flying again in midair. When he stood up again, he vomited a lot of blood. Looks like you're not really invincible, Risa sneered. She saw the hope of victory in Bogner's hands. Bogner's body seemed to be on the verge of collapse, but he didn't look panicked like a loser. Risa, hurry up and kill him. You know that in the movies, if you talk too much, you'll give your opponent a chance to turn the tables, Chen Zhao reminded her. I don't need you to remind me. Risa's palms turned red. Die. Boom. Bogner stood up again. Boom. Again. Half of Bogner's body was already drenched in blood. But he stood up again and again. Risa, I feel that you are more like a villain, and the opponent is more like the unkillable protagonist in a hot-blooded manga. Shut up. At this time, Risa's heat energy was consumed by more than half. Although there was still a lot of heat, she felt tired. Haha, are you feeling very tired? Bogner smiled bitterly. That's because of your magic power. Your abilities are linked to your magic power. You can't unleash it however you want. What can you do now? Although Risa was tired, she still held on. Haven't you noticed? I'm attacking you on purpose. Are you consoling yourself? Bogner smiled. The left side of my body is my human body and bloodline. You are only attacking a part of me. Every time you attack, you are helping me suppress my human bloodline. As he spoke, Bogner raised Nasamara's awl and stabbed it into his right side. In an instant, a wave of aura rushed over. Risa couldn't stand still and took a few steps back. She tried to hold on, but facing this unparalleled aura, she found it difficult to even breathe. It was as if a hand had grabbed her heart. This aura came from Bogner. The human part of him was being assimilated by the demon part. Another demon horn appeared on his head. Risa, don't you want to kill him while he's still transforming? Chen Zhao shouted. When he's done, he'll definitely become much more powerful. You might not be able to defeat him then. Hearing that, Risa's expression became very serious. Of course, she knew that he was right. However, she was instinctively against him. Cut the crap. I'll deal with you after I kill him. Ah! Risa yelled and gathered all the heat energy in her palms. Boom! The heat energy bombarded Bogner's face. But before it could touch Bogner, it was blocked by the aura that Bogner emitted. At this moment, Bogner's transformation was complete. He had turned into a red demon with a pair of demon horns on his forehead. His body was slender and he had a sharp tail. You've made me more perfect. Bogner admired his body, which was filled with power. Even my grandfather's grandfather's grandfather wasn't as close to perfection as I am. Risa's expression was serious, but her heart was filled with despair. She thought that she was unique. But Bogner's terror made her despair. Bogner was filled with nostalgia for his body. This guy's ugly and narcissistic. Chen Zhao pursed his lips. Riisa glanced at Chen Zhao. Are you afraid that you won't die soon enough? Bogner also looked at Chen Zhao. Suddenly, the demon horns on his head shot out a red bolt of lightning. Chen Zhao immediately grabbed Nader's body. The body was blown into 2 pieces. Riisa attacked again. While Bogner was attacking Chen Zhao, she shot a beam of heat at him. However, the current Bogner was countless times stronger than he had been in the past. Riisa's heat attack didn't hurt him at all. Bogner turned his head slowly. Can't you guys calm down and admire my perfect body? Sorry. I can't, Chen Zhao said with a shrug. Bogner's body started to change again. To Chen Zhao and Riisa's surprise, Bogner actually turned back into his human form. Forget it. You should go back to your monster form. Your human form is even uglier. Enraged, Bogner turned back into his demon form. Suddenly, a strange voice sounded. Sorry, I have to take a call. Chen Zhao picked up the phone as if there was no one else around. Hey, Gaia, what's up? I heard from West that you have a mission for us to carry out, right? Are you done over there? Yes. We're all at the headquarters now, Gaia said. What do you want us to deal with? An interesting little guy. Chen Zhao took a photo of Bogner with his phone. So ugly. Riisa and Bogner were speechless. Why did Chen Zhao and his subordinates always focus on such strange things? I'm going to kill you. Bogner roared in anger. Sharp claws extended from his hands. Chapter 1043. In Lisa's opinion, Chen Zhao was looking for death. No, Chen Zhao had been seeking his own death from the beginning. Bogner's demon horn shot a red bolt of lightning at Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao shuddered. The red lightning looked shockingly powerful, but its voltage was probably less than 500,000 volts. Phew. Your battery is a bit low. You should charge it. Chen Zhao was still holding the phone. Gaia, I'll talk to you later. Wait for me at the headquarters. I should bring something interesting back. Bogner's eyes narrowed and he suddenly clawed at Chen Zhao. But when his claws scratched Chen Zhao's skin, his claws didn't break. Chen Zhao grabbed Bogner's demon horn with one hand. Let me ask you something. Where did you put the stolen relics? Bogner struggled wildly, but he couldn't break free no matter how hard he tried. Crack, Chen Zhao's hand lightened and the demon horn broke. Ah! Look at you. If you were more obedient, it wouldn't have broken. Chen Zhao shook his head. Lisa was dumbfounded. This guy was the real monster, wasn't he? She thought that Bogner was already strong enough. But now, it seemed that Bogner was like a child before Chen Zhao. Nevertheless, one of the demon horns broke, giving Bogner a chance to escape. Bogner retreated abruptly, but the next moment, he tripped and fell to the ground. Lisa's pupils constricted. She saw that it was a black liquid that had tripped Bogner. The black liquid seemed to have a life of its own, wriggling non-stop. The dark serum wrapped around Bogner's ankle and dragged him before Chen Zhao. I'll ask you one last time. Where are the things? Bogner's eyes were filled with anger and unwillingness. He tried so hard to recover his demon bloodline. He'd thought that he could do whatever he wanted in this world. But Chen Zhao had slapped him hard in the face. If Chen Zhao knew what he was thinking, he would only scoff. Could it be that this guy has been cooped up at home for too long that his brain has become dull? Even Chen Zhao didn't dare to say that he could do whatever he wanted, but this thing dared to. Inside. Bogner pointed in the direction of the secret door. Chen Zhao looked at the wall and walked forward. He punched the wall. Bang! The entire wall was deformed and twisted. The inside of the wall was made of metal, and it caved in and flew into the secret door. Rui Sha was shocked. What a terrifying destructive power. Was this the true strength of this fellow? Is he an awakened like me? But what was his ability? Is he a strength type? But what was that black substance? The dark serum dragged Bonner behind Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao walked into the secret door and looked at the portraits on both sides. These are my ancestors. So your ugliness is inherited from your ancestors. Chen Zhao's words infuriated Bonner. But facing Chen Zhao's overbearing attitude, Bogner could only endure it for now. Lisa followed behind. It wasn't her first time witnessing Chen Zhao's sharp tongue. However, Chen Zhao's insult to Bogner's ancestor had refreshed her knowledge. He walked all the way to the abyss. How could there be any collection? Where is it? You lied to me. Great Lord of the Abyss, please help your devout servant. Bogner suddenly shouted. At this moment, a huge black hand reached out from the abyss. There was an eye in the palm of the huge black hand. When Lisa saw the huge black hand, she froze in fear. The scene before her had completely surpassed her knowledge and toppled her worldview. The black hand grabbed at Chen Zhao. But Chen Zhao's sword energy cut off 3 of the black hand's fingers. You're a mid-level demon, right? Where are you from in hell? Chen Zhao looked at the black hand. It definitely wasn't the demon's main body. To be called the Lord of the Abyss, it was probably a lord. If the black hand was one of the demon's limbs, it should be weaker than a lord like Sophie. The last time Chen Zhao met Sophie had only used 1 finger to defeat him. During this time, Chen Zhao's power had increased by quite a bit again. But according to Chen Zhao's estimation, Sophie could defeat him with 1 hand. Therefore, the owner of the black hand was definitely not as strong as Sophie. But he was stronger than a lord of a small village like Beelzebub. Chen Zhao estimated that the original body of the hand should be a mid-level demon. Although Chen Zhao had cut off 3 of the black hand's fingers, it recovered quickly. Just as it was about to attack Chen Zhao again, Chen Zhao took 2 steps back. You can't beat me now. You'd better scram back to hell. When your main body comes out, we can still fight a few rounds. Think about it. If I keep cutting off your fingers, your demonic power will be exhausted. So, you can relax, and so can I. Lisa and Bogner were dumbfounded. Chen Zhao was negotiating with a demon. And his tone was extremely arrogant. He was speaking to the black hand in a very disdainful tone. Just when they thought that Chen Zhao would only anger the black hand slowly retreated back into the abyss. Human, I'll remember you. If I can return to the human world one day, I'll tear you into pieces. Demon, you know that your words are called death flags in the Celestial Empire. Be careful. Don't make flags so easily. Who exactly are you? Bogner stared at Chen Zhao in shock. I'll ask you one last time. Where are the things? Chen Zhao held Bogner upside down and hung him above the abyss. Don't let go. I've sacrificed everything to the Lord of the Deep, fuck you. Chen Zhao swung his hand and threw Bogner into the abyss. You asterisk shoal, come out. Let's fight again. Lisa was speechless. Move aside, Chen Zhao said. What are you doing? Pee down there. Chen Zhao tossed and turned for a long time. His expression was lifeless. He'd worked for nothing. He'd thought that he'd get a lot this time. In the end, he didn't get anything. Come with me, Chen Zhao said. What are you doing? Lisa looked at Chen Zhao in fear. Didn't you say that you'd deal with me after dealing with that asterisk shoal? Coincidentally, I'm going to deal with you too. Risa really wanted to slap herself. If she'd known that Chen Zhao was so terrifying, she wouldn't have blurted out something she shouldn't have. You owed me 100 million before. You hired me this time and you owe me another 100 million. In other words, you owe me 200 million now. Do you have any objections? I don't admit it. Lisa looked at Chen Zhao, gritting her teeth. Are you sure you want to go back on your word? Chapter 1044. I accept, I admit. Risa said hurriedly. Good girl. Chen Zhao patted her head. Let's go. As soon as the two poked their heads out, the door frame exploded. Someone shot at them. Chen Zhao and Risa immediately retreated into the room. There are at least 30 gunmen outside. Risa looked at Chen Zhao. At this moment, two darkness mothers rose from the darkness origin fluid. Kill everyone outside. The two dark entities charged out of the room. Instantly, gunshots and screams filled the room. Risa stared at Chen Zhao in fear. A few minutes passed. It was silent outside. We can go back now. Go back. Where? Headquarters. What headquarters? You've been there before. Chen Zhao tossed the car keys to Risa. You drive and remember the way. What if I say I don't know how to drive? Risa really didn't want to go there. That place was like hell to her. Do you want to meet Joe Baylor? Teacher's dead. Don't you know there's a soul after death? Can you really let me see teacher? No. Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. Risa glared at Chen Zhao hatefully. When they reached the headquarters, everyone came out immediately. Hey, Chen. Why did you bring her back? She's the interesting thing I was talking about. What do you mean? Air conditioner, Chen Zhao said. Heat mode. Risa stared at Chen Zhao furiously. 200 million. $200 million. Risa gave in and released some heat. It's indeed much warmer. Air conditioning mode. Risa absorbed the released heat energy, and the temperature suddenly dropped a lot. From now on, you'll be the automatic air conditioner in our headquarters. Chen, you made us wait for an entire night. You didn't make fun of us, right? Gaia looked at Chen Zhao angrily. Fine, fine, the joke's over. Chen Zhao took out Nasamala and tossed it to Gaia. What's this? It can improve your bloodline. Gaia's eyes brightened. Like this? I don't know. Hey, how do I use it? Chen Zhao asked, turning around. Lisa looked at Chen Zhao and then at Gaia. She's like me. She's different from you, but almost the same. Last time, I pricked my finger, and then I got superpowers, Lisa said. Gaia held Nasamara's copper awl and stabbed it into her finger. How do you use it? Do you feel anything? No, I don't feel anything. Gaia shook her head. Should I do it a few more times? Gaia's body suddenly stiffened, and Nasamara's copper awl fell to the ground. A wave of heat hit them in the face, and they all backed away from Gaia. Risa stood still at first, but soon the heat wave exceeded the limit of what she could absorb, and she had to retreat from Gaia's side. Chen Zhao was the only one who didn't move in the face of the heat. Gaia's body began to change shape. And it was getting bigger. It grew bigger and bigger. Dragon. Gaia was transforming into a dragon. Lisa's eyes were wide open, shock written all over her face. Gaia had transformed into a real fire dragon. The surrounding floor-to-ceiling glass shattered. Gaia charged forward, then out of the hall and into the night sky. West, put it on Gaia's tab for the maintenance of these floor-to-ceiling windows. President, aren't you focusing on the wrong thing? Just then, everyone in the association noticed Gaia, who had transformed into a fire dragon. They all walked out of the headquarters and looked up. Gaia wasn't big. Compared to Obito's when he transformed, he was even smaller. He was around 5 meters long. However, Gaia's body looked stronger, and his limbs were thicker too. After circling the headquarters twice, Gaia finally returned to the starting point. He transformed into a human in the air and landed on the ground. What a pity. Chen Zhao sighed. What's a pity? Gaia looked at Chen Zhao. Is my transformation not perfect enough? No. To be honest, I'm looking forward to seeing you run naked. Gaia had been happy at first, but when he heard Chen Zhao's words, his face darkened. Gaia's transformation into a fire dragon didn't just shock Lisa. Many people in the association were astonished as well. President, is this useful to us? West asked, holding the Nasamala awl. Chen Zhao shook his head. There was a fundamental difference between an awakened and a shaman. Norma can try, and Helis can try too. Helis' bloodline was special too, but Chen Zhao wasn't sure if it was a demon bloodline. Everyone looked at Helis and Norma. Everyone here has superpowers? Riisa finally discovered the problem. More accurately, shamans, Chen Zhao said. Glancing at Lisa, Chen Zhao said, people like you are awakened. You inherited a special bloodline from your ancestors, but most of them are recessive. Only a few are dominant. But ours is dominant, isn't it? Yes. President, what about you? Do you have any? West asked. Chen Zhao froze. Give it to me. I'll try first. Chen Zhao had 2 7 deadly sin demon bloodlines in his body. One was the King of Wrath's bloodline. He'd gotten it when he'd killed Samuel Logan, who then activated it. The other was Beelzebub Sophie's King of Gluttony bloodline. Chen Zhao pierced his right palm with force and looked at it. Suddenly, his right arm swelled up. Chen Zhao's right arm hadn't swelled up in a long time. Ever since he'd been baptized by the Devil's Day, his right arm could release its strongest power even in its normal state. But this time, Chen Zhao's right arm swelled bigger than ever. It was like a train carriage. Bang! Chen Zhao's right arm smashed onto the ground. With a crash, all the windows in the headquarters shattered. A huge impact spread out. Everyone was blown back by the shock wave. The ground rumbled, leaving behind a huge crater. Everyone stood up again, looking at Chen Zhao with lingering fear. West will pay for the repairs, Chen Zhao said, turning his head. President. I didn't do this, did I? You suggested it and caused my right arm to go out of control. A man should take responsibility for his mistake. Chen Zhao looked at his right arm. An idea came to him and he put it away. Lisa looked at Chen Zhao, her eyes filled with fear. The captives, led by Henry, had been here for a long time. They'd already seen the supernatural events here and knew that this place wasn't normal. At the same time, they'd heard that Chen Zhao was the demon king here. But they didn't know much about Chen Zhao. Now, they finally had a direct understanding. Chapter 1045. Give it to me again, Chen Zhao said. It can be used a second time. Everyone was shocked. Lisa shook her head. I've tried. It's useless the second time. But Chen Zhao ignored her. He took Nasamara's awl and stabbed it into his chest. Whoosh, Chen Zhao's head drooped slightly. He didn't move for a long time. Everyone looked at each other. West said carefully, "Did the president stab himself to death?" Everyone rolled their eyes. Chen Zhao cherished his life so much. He definitely wouldn't do something so rash. Plus, how could a small all kill Chen Zhao? Chen Zhao would have died hundreds of times. An aura circled around Chen Zhao. Everyone couldn't help but gulp. Chen Zhao clearly hadn't done anything, but there was an unbearable aura around him. It was like the body's instinctive reaction. It was like they'd encountered a natural enemy that made their hair stand on end. Just then, Harold pointed above her head and exclaimed, "Look!" Only then did everyone realize that a black cover had been placed over their heads without them noticing. This black barrier enveloped the entire headquarters. However, because of the lights in the headquarters, they did not notice the existence of this black cover at first. Everyone knew that Chen Zhao often controlled a black, liquid-like substance. But in their memories, the black substance didn't seem to have such a large amount. Chen Zhao suddenly looked up and opened his eyes. The dark serum also faded. Whoosh, that feels good. Lisa stared at Chen Zhao in disbelief. She didn't understand how he could use it twice. "President, can this thing be used twice?" Harold asked curiously. "No," Chen Zhao said. "Apart from the human bloodline in your body, you can only activate the existing special bloodline. You can't create a second special bloodline. But I'm a bit special. I have 2 special bloodlines in my body." Instead, everyone felt that Chen Zhao's explanation made sense. Both Norma and Harold were eager to try. "Norma, you try first." Norma walked up happily. She wasn't as bold as Chen Zhao and Gaia, stabbing a hole in her body. With a light tap of his finger, Norma's head drooped down just like the second time, as if she had fallen asleep. "Knock knock knock, did you hear anything? Is that the sound of horse hooves?" Everyone looked left and right, but they didn't see anything. "Over there." Lisa was the first to discover the source of the sound. In the night sky, a ball of green flames was descending from the sky. It was a horse, a war horse burning with green flames. Everyone was surprised. "Nightmare," Alice said. "This is the legendary Nightmare." "President, it's me." Nightmare landed in front of everyone and said, "I'm Norma." "Norma? Are you really Norma?" Then she. "This Nightmare's body was created by my consciousness. What can you do with this?" Chen Zhao asked Norma. "Both physical and magical attacks are fine," Norma said. "Come and give it a try, Pan En." "Come and give it a try." Lisa was startled when Pan En transformed into a bear. What kind of ability was this? She'd already seen too many unbelievable things tonight. Nightmare Norma charged at Pan En without any explanation. Pan En didn't plan to attack. Seeing Norma attack, he only put on a defensive stance. But just then, Nightmare Norma's body passed through Pan En's body. In an instant, Pan En seemed to have lost consciousness. He laid on the ground and started snoring loudly. "Such a powerful hypnotic effect," everyone exclaimed. A few seconds later, Pan En woke up with a start as if he'd had a nightmare. What happened? What just happened? Knock, knock, Nightmare Norma knocked on the horse's hooves. "I hypnotized you." Pan En had only been hypnotized for a few seconds, but in a battle between experts, a few seconds could decide the outcome. It could even be life and death. "I'm going to wake up." Nightmare Norma's body suddenly dissipated. Then, Norma's real body woke up too. "I used a lot of magic power. Looks like I need to increase my magic power. Let me. Helis walked over impatiently. She picked up Noxamara's copper awl and stabbed it into her palm. Ah! Countless images flashed through Helis' mind. Then she shrank into a ball like a bird startled by the mere twang of a bow. Helis, what's wrong? An island. Helis looked at him in horror. I saw an island. And then? Everyone was disappointed. They didn't understand why Helis would be so scared. I saw countless people being slaughtered. Then their blood was gathered together and formed a lake. As Helis spoke, she started vomiting on the spot. After all, Helis was a necromancer. She usually came into contact with corpses, but now, it made her vomit. Everyone was curious as to what she'd seen. Suddenly, they realized that 2 corpse demons had appeared behind Helis. The 2 corpse demons were wrapped tightly in bandages. There were also countless strange runes on their bodies. Helis. Chen Zhao gestured at her. Helis turned to look at the 2 corpse demons behind her. Her face was filled with shock. Where did they come from? There's a magic resonance between you two. You probably summoned them. But, they're corpse demons, right? Helis' face was filled with confusion. Corpse demons can only be made by oneself. The process is very, very complicated and even cruel. President, I've never made a corpse demon before. Helis was usually a loner, but she always had an inexplicable admiration for Qin Zhao. As long as it was Qin Zhao's order, she would follow it unconditionally. To make monsters like corpse demons, they first had to be made from living people. The process was very complicated, so if she made corpse demons, she wouldn't be able to hide it from others. I know. Qin Zhao looked at the 2 corpse demons before him. The process didn't seem to be done recently. For example, the linen wrapped around the corpse demons had clearly been done for many years. Could it be related to the scene Helis saw? West asked. But why did Helis see that? Norma asked, confused. We didn't. Chapter 1046. How much do you know about Nasamara's bronze awl? That's all I know. Then your first mission is to investigate this Nasamara's bronze awl. Why do I have to investigate this? It has nothing to do with me, Lisa said unhappily. Fine, Chen Zhao said. If you don't want to do this, then you'll be in charge of all the heating and cooling in the headquarters, including the captives' dormitories. Lisa's face suddenly turned livid. Chen Zhao was treating her like an air conditioner. He might as well just kill her. Fine, I accept, Lisa said helplessly. Before that, you must continue being the air conditioner in the headquarters. Why? I've already agreed to it. Lisa cried out in dissatisfaction. Of course it's to urge you to investigate as soon as possible. If you can't find anything in your entire life, then you'll be an air conditioner for the rest of your life. Don't resist. Look at all the big guys in the headquarters. Who can you beat? Riisa was suddenly at a loss. It seemed that she couldn't beat anyone here. President, Norma, Gaia, and Helis have all become stronger. This will widen the gap between us. Shouldn't you think of a way to help us become stronger too? West complained. If it was just Gaia, it would be fine. Gaia's strength was obvious. However, Norma and Helis were both newbies. Helis had just become an official member not long ago. This was a huge pressure on the older members, especially the male members. Jalanash had always been competitive, but she also felt very depressed now. Alice, do you have the formula for the mana potion? Yes, but President. Alice said. Many of the ingredients for the potion are very difficult, especially the bones of magical creatures. There aren't many magical creatures now. One bone costs hundreds of thousands on the market. Also, the mana content is very low. I'll provide the bones, Chen Zhao said. You guys go and buy the other ingredients for the potion. President, you have the bones of magical creatures. When Gaia and I first went out to sea, we killed a three-headed dragon. I still have the skeleton of that three-headed dragon. Lisa glanced at Qinzhao. Just what kind of existence were they fighting? A three-headed dragon was probably a legendary creature. Okay, let's all go out and look for magic materials. West and the others were very motivated. I need to get to the Tower of Trials first, Gaia said. I feel like I have the confidence to pass the second floor. Norma and Hallie's were more special. Norma's strength had actually increased quite a bit, but she was still not enough to pass the second level. Harry's was now saving on the fourth floor. Although the increase in her strength was not small, compared to the fourth level, it was equivalent to a cup of water on a burning cart of firewood. There was not much meaning. I'll go take a look too, Qinzhao said. When she looked at Qinzhao, her eyes were filled with admiration. What is the training tower? Riisa asked curiously. Oh, that's the Tower of Trials. Do you want to try it? West said. Just then Henry found the courage to come forward. President, I'd like to borrow Noxamara's copper awl. I've always felt that I'm not an ordinary person. Everyone was a little stunned. Harry's gaze was firm. West looked at Qinzhao. Henry and the others were all captives. If they obtained special abilities, they would definitely be difficult to manage. Of course, if Qinzhao gave the order, then no one could object. Qinzhao was the dictator of the association. He had the power to make any decision. President, look, how's he usually? Very good, West said. Then give him a chance. West walked up to Henry. Give him your hand. Henry gathered his courage and stretched out his hand. He was both excited and nervous. West stabbed Noxamara's copper awl into Henry's palm. Henry flinched. How is it? Do you feel it? Henry closed his eyes and slowly felt it. I think I feel it. Coming. Suddenly, Henry's butt was kicked. Henry fell to the ground and looked at Qinzhao innocently. You think you're in the toilet? Did you awaken it or not? If you did, use it now. President. It's not convenient for me to use my ability here. I feel it, what's inconvenient about it? Hurry up and broaden our horizons. Then I'll use it. Hurry up and cut the crap. Ha! Henry roared. Poof, everyone ran away in an instant. The captives couldn't avoid it. They all covered their mouths, held their breath, or vomited. Otherwise, they just fell to the ground and lost consciousness. Help! Help! It stinks, fuck, what kind of weird ability is this? Bullshit. Qinzhao was completely speechless. Jolanash, go and use a wind spell to blow the smell away. Reluctantly, Jolanash went up and blew the smell away. Alice, do you have any sealing spells to seal his ability? President. No. Henry was also depressed. Who would have thought that he would awaken such an ability? You're so reckless. Don't come near me. In the future, no matter what, don't come within 10 meters of me. Otherwise, I won't be able to stop myself from beating you up, Qinzhao said in disdain. The smell had been blown away, but Qinzhao still felt that there was a smell that hadn't dissipated. Qinzhao touched his nose and went to the Tower of Trials with some resentment. President. I want to go to the Tower of Trials too. Sure. If you can pass the first level, you'll become a permanent member. You won't be a captive anymore. Also, didn't I warn you not to come near me? Oh, Qinzhao entered the Tower of Trials and went straight to the 6th level. The 6th level was a wasteland. Qinzhao waited for a long time, but there wasn't a single monster. That's weird. Where's the monster? How come there's no monster? Chen Zhao waited for a long time, but there was still no monster. Chen Zhao started wandering around the wasteland. Suddenly, Chen Zhao saw a huge hole in front of him. Immediately, a black hand reached out from the abyss. Such a familiar black hand, the hand seemed to be climbing up the edge with all its might. Soon, a tall figure climbed out of the hole. It was a 30-meter-tall giant. It was completely black. Chen Zhao stared at the hand, the huge black palm. Abyss Demon. This demon was called the Abyss Demon. Was this the monster of the 6th level? It seemed to be the only one. However, this Abyss Demon was stronger than all the monsters he'd encountered before. Chapter 1047. Chen Zhao looked at the Abyss Demon. This demon was clearly not the one he'd encountered before. But no matter which one it was, Chen Zhao had to defeat it. The Abyss Demon's huge fist had already descended. The mouth of gluttony and eye of power opened at the same time. Taking the punch head-on, Chen Zhao retreated a dozen steps while the Abyss Demon took one step back. They were very close in terms of strength. However, the difference in size still resulted in different resistances when they received force. It was like the same force falling on a wall, but the result would be different if it landed on a person. Due to the difference in size, their resistance to power was also different. The Abyssal Demon abruptly jumped 100 meters into the air, followed by a flying kick from the sky. Chen Zhao immediately dodged the kick, but the attack was like a meteor crashing to the ground. It also created a huge impact. The Dark Origin liquid instantly turned into a huge curtain that blocked the Abyssal Demon's attack. When the Abyssal Demons attacked again, the Dark Origin liquid suddenly turned into countless blades. In the past, Chen Zhao had never been able to condense the Dark Serum into sharp weapons. But after the second awakening with Nasumarazal, not only did he have more Dark Serum, but he could also control it more easily. The Dark Serum instantly attached to the Abyss Demon. Then, it ravaged the demon's body. It was as if countless blades had been thrown into the Abyssal Demon's body, continuously cutting its flesh. The Abyss Demon's body was cut into a bloody mess. Although the Abyss Demon had strong recovery abilities, it couldn't stop the Dark Serum's mincing mode. In the end, the Abyss Demon was cut into countless pieces of flesh. Rating A+. Save and leave, or enter the next level. Chen Zhao saved and left. There were many people outside the Tower of Trials now. Gaia was outside too. Chen, how was the 6th level? I passed, but I'm not satisfied yet. I want to go in again, Chen Zhao said. What about you? I passed the 2nd level, but the flying demons on the 3rd level are too fast. I couldn't handle them at all, Gaia said. Since you passed the 6th level, you can't go there again, right? Start from the beginning, Chen Zhao said. Chen Zhao was the only person who could enter the Tower of Trials continuously without a cooldown. After all, Chen Zhao was the master of the tower. If others failed, they would be in a 2-day cooldown. He entered the Tower of Trials again, starting from the 1st floor. Chen Zhao cleared the levels as fast as he could, all the way to the 6th floor. Chen Zhao had re-entered because he felt that he might encounter more Abyss Demons in the future. Therefore, Chen Zhao had to learn more about Abyss Demons. The battle just now had only given him a very basic understanding of the Abyssal Demons. So, he didn't plan on using the Dark Serum this time. Instead, he chose to fight in a different way. In this second encounter, Chen Zhao had a better understanding of the Abyss Demons. This time, Chen Zhao used the huge mouth of gluttony to hit the demon with Super Smash to win. Evaluation, B-. Although the result was the same, using this method to defeat the Abyssal Demons was much less efficient than using the Dark Origin fluid to mince meat. Gaia saw him come out less than half an hour later. How come you're out so soon? Let's do it all over again. I plan to fight in a different way. Gaia was speechless. She had worked so hard to pass 2 levels. But Qin Zhao had easily passed through the 6th level and kept on fighting. This time, after reaching the 6th floor, he used the zither to fight. With the zither and the 12 stone swords, the efficiency was even higher. Compared to the 1st floor, he was even more efficient at using the dark serum. The blades formed by the dark serum couldn't reach Qin Zhao's own attack power. But using music to control the 12 stone swords was like 12 Qin Zhao at full strength attacking at the same time. Of course, the damage was higher. This time, he got a 3S+ rating. After a night, Qin Zhao kept going in and out. In total, he killed the Abyss demons 9 times. As a potential enemy, Qin Zhao had a deep understanding of the Abyss demons. He had a comprehensive understanding of their strength, abilities, and even their attack methods. Qin Zhao came out for the 10th time and saw Henry sitting on the ground before the tower. What's wrong? I failed, Henry said, depressed. You failed. Qin Zhao wasn't surprised. After all, Henry had just awakened. Plus, he didn't know how powerful his weird ability was against monsters. It's fine. You can be a temporary member of the association for now, Qin Zhao said. You still have a lot of room for development. President, really? After all, Qin Zhao was an expert in this, so his words were very encouraging for Henry. Of course. President, I'll try my best. Stop. Don't come near me. Qin Zhao's heart jumped. Oh, I'll give you a mission. Are you willing? President, I'm willing. I'm very willing. What Henry needed the most right now was someone who could acknowledge him. For him, Qin Zhao giving him a mission was no different from acknowledging him. David, I want to send someone to the detention room with that old asterisk show on. Chen, your father-in-law hasn't come out yet and you want to send someone in. Do you want me to die? I'm serious, Qin Zhao said. Also, he's going involuntarily. You just need to send him to Lawrence's cell. Who? A gangster. A smile appeared on Qin Zhao's face. You're not thinking of killing your father-in-law, are you? Of course not. Qin Zhao didn't want to kill Laurent, but he could at least disgust him to death. Qin Zhao didn't go home for the whole night. After giving some instructions to the headquarters, he went home. He had already called Fei Lai last night and told her that he wouldn't be coming home. When he got home, he saw that 4 was there too. Hi, Qin. Hi, 4. When did you come? 4 glanced at Qin Zhao. I heard you sent Dad to jail. No, it's all a misunderstanding. I'm talking to the police now. I believe Laurent will come out soon. As if I believe you. 4 rolled her eyes at Qin Zhao. Fei Lai was the only one who thought that Qin Zhao and Laurent were in love. 4 already knew about their relationship. But your house seems to be haunted. What? Haunted. Chapter 1048. Qin Zhao's expression was strange. He'd seen many green lights on the lake in the middle of the night. It was most likely little Nine coming out at night. However, Qin Zhao also had a headache, because little Nine grew the fastest out of all of them. Little Nine was already more than 20 meters long. Because of its growth, it was getting more and more uncomfortable in the basement. After all, it was so big that it needed more space to move around. And before long, little Nine's body would grow even bigger. Maybe even bigger than Amon. Amon's body had stabilized in the past few months. This was his limit in the human world. But little Nine was different. It wasn't a demon. It was a magical beast in its original form. So, it would grow in an extraordinary way. By then, even Mirror Lake wouldn't be able to hide its true form. Chen Zhao thought for a long time but couldn't think of a solution. Just then, Fei Lai came downstairs. Seeing Chen Zhao, she walked to his side. Chen, what are you thinking about? Just now, For said that she saw green lights on the lake last night. It's little 9, right? Yes. Chen Zhao nodded. Little 9's too big now. Not even 1/3 of a mon's size. It's different. Chen Zhao shook his head with a bitter smile. Oh, in another year, little 9 might be the same size as a mon. By then, our basement won't be able to hide little 9. Then what should we do? Chen Zhao thought for a long time. In the future, little 9 will need to be raised in the sea. Mirror Lake is too small, after all. I think we need to build a house by the sea. Fei Lai looked up at him. Are you serious? I just suddenly had this idea. If 4 hadn't said that, Chen Zhao wouldn't have had this idea. Then what about this house? We'll stay here in winter and go to the sea in summer. Why do we have to stay here in winter? The cold air from the Pacific Ocean blows over in winter. If there aren't tall buildings blocking it, even if we can stand it, the child won't be able to. Okay. Since you've decided, we'll do as you say. Chen Zhao did whatever he thought of. The first thing he considered was whether to build or buy a house. Currently, there were a few high-end neighborhoods by the sea in LA. There were too many people and it wasn't suitable. Moreover, those houses in high-end communities were not cost-effective, and the area was not big enough. Therefore, if he wanted to buy something, he would have to buy something that was relatively remote, at least in a relatively remote place. And in a remote place, he would definitely need to build his own house. The price of land along the remote coastline would not be very high. He could buy a large piece of coastline and repair the beach himself. Chen Zhao had studied this before. For example, Rasfa's beach was built by himself. 2 kilometers of beach only cost a few $100,000. Relatively speaking, the cost-performance ratio was quite high. However, Chen Zhao couldn't handle this alone. Chen Zhao thought for a moment and decided to ask a professional first. Chen Zhao picked up the phone. Hello, Andrews. Mr. Chen, how can I help you? I want to buy a beach near Los Angeles. The first requirement is that there aren't many people and the environment is the best. Mr. Chen, your requirements are rather general. There are at least 10 beaches around for sale, and the price ranges from a few $100,000 to a few $1 million. You'd better be more detailed so that I can help you choose. First, the traffic can't be too bad. Second, the coastline has to be long enough, at least 3 kilometers. There must be a deep water area. I want to build a dock with a good environment. I don't need a house. I plan to build my own house. It can't be more than 50 kilometers away from Los Angeles. The price should be below $30 million. Mr. Chen, you can buy the best beach with $30 million, even if it's in Los Angeles. Don't you understand? I want a remote one. The length of the beach can be as long as possible. I don't like my place to be too noisy. Okay, I understand. Andrews really couldn't understand the thoughts of rich people. Not long after Chen Zhao hung up, Amira called. Mr. Chen, it's me, Amira. Ms. Amira, how can I help you? I heard you want to buy a beach. Yeah, did Andrews say that? I have a 4-kilometer beach under my name, including about 12 square kilometers of land along the coast. It's been abandoned. If Mr. Chen is interested, I'm willing to sell it to you. Oh. What location? How much? This beach is located 60 kilometers north of Los Angeles. It's only one road away from Sancho National Park. I originally invested in this beach. The Los Angeles city government wanted to build a public beach there, but after the Marine Department's investigation, they found that it was a shark nest. There were at least 10 great white sharks wandering nearby, causing the plan to be put on hold. This beach has been rotting in my hands ever since. Shark's nest. Chen Zhao actually hoped for a few more sharks. Otherwise, Little Nine wouldn't have enough to eat. However, Little Nine would probably be able to chase away all the large fish in less than 3 days after moving there. How much? I bought it for 10 million. Then I'll pay 10 million. I want this beach. Oh, are the sharks still there? Mr. Chen, do you need me to find someone to chase the sharks away? No, don't chase them away. Leave them for me. Amira was speechless. If a shark appeared on someone's beach, they'd definitely find a large number of fishermen to chase it away. However, Chen Zhao's tone was actually a bit excited. He didn't care about the sharks at all. In fact, he was very happy about it. Of course, Amira had seen Chen Zhao's scary side. She also believed that a few sharks wouldn't be a threat to him. Okay. When are you free? Let's go see the beach together. I'm free today. Are you free? Sure. How about this afternoon? Chen Zhao covered his phone. Fei Lai, how about we go down and I go see the beach? Great, did you find the beach so quickly? Coincidentally, a friend wants to sell a beach. Okay. Just then, Fo heard the noise and walked out of the kitchen. Chen, you want to buy a beach? Yes. Why? You said that our place is haunted, so I want Fei Lai and the kids to change the environment. Ugh. I was just saying. Did you really take it seriously? Fo asked in astonishment. It's not bad to change the environment occasionally, Chen Zhao said. Where is it? I want to go too. I'll go too, Winnip said from upstairs. This family's ears were all so sharp. Chapter 1049. This time, it was a family trip, so Chen Zhao drove the RV. Little Jerlin was very excited when she saw the coastline. She kept patting the window, her mouth pressed against the glass. See, yeah. Haha, Chen, the beach you want to buy is really far, Winnip said. Mom, I asked Chen to buy it further away, Fei Lai said. She knew what Chen Zhao was thinking about. The air would be much better away from the city and no one would disturb them. Even if they wanted to go to the city, it would only take half an hour. After leaving the city for 50 kilometers, the RV went into a small road. After about 1 kilometer on the road, the car stopped. If you want to live here, Winnip said. We have to repair the road from Mountain Town to Mirror Lake. When we built the house at Mirror Lake, the road from Mountain Town to Mirror Lake was several kilometers long. After Jerlin got off the car, she was already running toward the beach. However, Fo stopped her. The beach below was still a primordial gravel beach. Going down there to play wasn't the least bit entertaining. If people wanted to live and have fun, the beach had to be repaired. The gravel had to be cleared and fine sand had to be covered. This wasn't a difficult project. It only cost a few $100,000 to build a few kilometers of high-quality beach. Chen Zhao looked at the surroundings. Behind him was a large green mountain. The Green Mountain was Sandro National Park. It was less than 2 kilometers from the coastline. Chen Zhao took out his phone. Miss Amira, my family and I are here. I'm here too. Where are you now? We stopped at the end of the road. A while later, Amira found Chen Zhao's family. She only brought 2 bodyguards and a lawyer with her today. Hello, Mr. Chin. This is Miss Winnip. Chen Zhao introduced them to his family. Amira was quite good at socializing. Soon, she and Winnip began chatting animatedly. That's the cliff, right? Is it also for sale? Chen Zhao asked. Amira looked in the direction of the cliff and nodded. Yes, that cliff is the center. It extends 4 kilometers to the left and right, and the total length is 8 kilometers. Including the forest behind it, the total area is 12 square kilometers. The sea area is 50 square kilometers, Amira said. At this time, Winnip raised an objection. A cliff in the middle cuts off the entire coastline. This will damage the entire coastline and the senses. Amira glanced at Winnip with a smile, but she could tell that the real decision-maker was still Qin Zhao and Fei Lai. Therefore, she mainly explained to Qin Zhao, that cliff is a giant rock layer. The ground is very solid. If you build a villa on it, it'll be expensive, but it's very sturdy. You can also build a house with paneling. This type of house will be more resistant to coastal storms than normal coastal buildings. It'll also have a better field of vision. Think about how much enjoyment it'll be to have a full field of vision. Fei Lai and Qin Zhao exchanged glances. They indeed hadn't considered this before. But after listening to Amira's words, they all had new ideas about the new house. Are there no flaws here? Winnip asked. Yes, Amira said. I told Mr. Chen before that there are sharks here. Winnip and Four frowned. Fei Lai smiled. Is there a discount? Fei Lai, you have to think about it, Four advised. Even if you're not afraid, you have to at least think about the kids. Sharks were never a problem. She had so many kids. They would probably slaughter all the sharks on the beach. Show us around here. Qin Zhao was already tempted. He trusted Amira, but it was still a $10 million deal. He still had to understand it. Amira introduced the beach as they walked. We only need to build a road less than a kilometer along the coastline to connect to Highway 5. It's less than 45 minutes from the city. Apart from the shark problem I mentioned, the coastline is pretty perfect. There are no flaws. Speaking of sharks, the main problem is that the water here is good. There aren't any chemical factories within 100 kilometers, so there are a lot of fish in the sea. It's abundant food for sharks. Amira said, also, there used to be a fishery here, but the government banned fishing 20 years ago, causing all the fisheries to go bankrupt. Is there a deep water area here? Chen Zhao asked. Yes. Amira nodded. That's the deep water area. About 100 meters away from the coastline, there's a deep water area with a depth of more than 30 meters. You can build a small or medium-sized dock there. Qin Zhao and Fei Lai were even more satisfied. Usually, a dock for a yacht would need a depth of at least 20 meters. Some large ports would need a depth of at least 50 meters. Therefore, this depth was already considered a very good depth for the coastline. For example, Qin Zhao could only park the yacht in the middle of Mirror Lake. He couldn't get close to the villa. The main reason was the depth. Another problem was that the yacht was too big. If it got close to the villa, it would block the villa's view. I want to buy this beach as soon as possible. Qin Zhao made his decision immediately. Of course, no problem. I've brought the lawyer. Also, Mr. Qin, please make some time so we can go notarize it. Sure. Four and Winnip were speechless at Qin Zhao's decisive decision to buy a coastline. Qin Zhao actually made such a big decision so easily. However, this was between Qin Zhao and Fei Lai, after all. Winnip and Four were just outsiders. They would give their opinions, but they couldn't interfere with Chen Zhao and Fei Lai's decision. After signing the contract, Chen Zhao paid the advance. Only after the notarization would he pay in full. Felwood Cisco's life had been pretty good recently. Around Christmas, his company had made a lot of money. A company like his basically wouldn't open for business for half a year. Once it opened, it would eat for half a year. Thus, for a long time, Felwood wouldn't need to worry about the company's livelihood. Just as Felwood was drinking red wine in his office, the phone rang. The phone rang. Felwood picked it up. "Hello, who is this?" "I'm Chen Zhao, Mr. Felwood." Chapter 1050. I'm planning to build a new house. The budget is $30 million. Can your company take it? Felwood fell off his chair and onto the floor. "Mr. Felwood, are you okay?" "I'm fine. I'm fine," Felwood said hurriedly. "Mr. Chen, I need to talk to you." Felwood already had an impression of Chen Zhao's extravagance. The Mirror Lake mansion had only been built for less than a year. Now, he was going to build a new house. The budget this time was more than 10 times higher than last time. The total cost from last time was only about $2 million USD. But this time, Chen Zhao's budget was raised to $30 million. What was he going to build? Build a castle. Of course, no matter what he wanted to build. Felwood had to take the project. Felwood couldn't think of a reason to refuse. Might not even have a $30 million project in a year. The next day, Felwood Cisco rushed to the beach anxiously. Soon, Chen Zhao arrived as well. "Mr. Chen, hello. Mr. Felwood, long time no see. Mr. Chen, are you going to remodel the beach?" "I just bought this area. I want to build a mansion on the cliff, remodel the beach, and build a dock. Can you tell me your specific requirements?" "First, the mansion will be built into the cliff. I also want to build an elevator to the beach. I want the windows facing the beach to be seamless annular glass. I also want it to be able to withstand a level 16 super typhoon." Rarely had super typhoons. Usually, the typhoon's path was in Southeast Asia. This was because of the Earth's rotation, so most typhoons had a fixed path. However, a small portion of typhoons were reverse typhoons. These typhoons were strange and unpredictable. Even weather satellites couldn't predict their direction. There would be one every 10 or 20 years. Moreover, these reverse typhoons were super typhoons with shocking destructive power. Since Chen Zhao was going to build his house on the beach, he had to make it able to withstand super typhoons. "Mr. Chen, according to the scale of the mansion you described, one side of the panoramic seamless tempered glass will cost more than $600,000. If it's segmented glass, the view won't be affected much. The price will be 10 times lower. Since I'm going to build it, of course I'm going to build the best one. Why would I choose a second-rate one?" "Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Chen." Felwood wanted to slap himself for talking too much. "Also, we need to build 2 roads, Chen Zhao said. One leads to Highway 5 from the edge of the beach, and the other connects to Highway 5 from the front door of the mansion." "No problem. Also, I want a big garage and a big parking lot. When I have parties at the Mirror Lake Villa, my friends often don't have a place to park their cars." "Of course, I understand. There's one more thing. I hope that the road repair and beach management will be the first project to be carried out. After all, summer is coming. Although I can't enjoy the sea view room immediately, I still hope to enjoy my private beach before summer comes." Felwood noted down Chen Zhao's request seriously. Chen Zhao had always been his biggest client. Every time he gave him a project, he made a lot of money. Therefore, Regardless of whether Qin Zhao's request was reasonable or not, he had to carry it out. Also, I'm very satisfied with the design of the Mirror Lake Villa, but there aren't enough rooms. Usually, when my family comes, there aren't even enough rooms. This time, I hope to have more than 15 bedrooms and a swimming pool at the entrance of the master bedroom. Mr. Chen, I've noted everything you said. I'll give you the first design plan soon for you to see, Fellwood said. Fellwood said, if you have any additional requests, you can contact me at any time. Okay, that's about all of my requests. I'll contact you if I think of anything else. I'll leave now. Okay, Mr. Chen. I'd like to stay here and observe the terrain. Fellwood Cisco put all his attention into this business. This business was too important to him. Chen Zhao then went to the headquarters of the association. Today, Lit Grove and Bona Twain were both there. Actually, these days, as long as Lit Grove didn't have work and Bona Twain didn't have classes, they would come to the headquarters. Not for anything else, just to get familiar with them. Teacher. Seeing Chen Zhao, Lit Grove immediately went to his side. What are you doing? Don't think that I'll forgive you and let you leave the morgue security post just because you're trying to please me. Teacher, Lit Grove said seriously. I think that the position you arranged for me is very correct. Chen Zhao's face twitched. Did he lose his mind because of me? Does he have necrophilia or something? Just then, Jolig walked out. President, the electrical room you wanted is here. Do you want to try? Sure, let's go. Chen Zhao nodded. Chen Zhao followed Jolig to the electrical room. The electrical room was 4 square meters, a 2 by 2 space. However, there were many metal protrusions on the walls. President, this electrical room can instantly release up to 20 million volts of electricity. Okay, got it. I'll go in and try. Chen Zhao put his electronic equipment outside and gestured at the glass window. Let's start with 500,000 volts. Jolig stood before the control panel outside the door and started pushing the lever. The metal protrusions in the electrical room started shooting out irregular electric arcs. The arcs landed on Chen Zhao and all flowed toward the eye of the thunder. When electricity passed through the human body, it would flow into the ground in the shortest possible way. But because of the eye of the thunder, the electricity kept flowing into it. The eye of the thunder was like a superconductor, continuously attracting the electricity. However, 500,000 volts wasn't enough to make Chen Zhao feel anything. Chen Zhao gestured at Jolig again. Increase, 1 million volts. He still didn't feel anything. 2 million volts. Jolig stood on the control panel outside. Seeing the arcs land on Chen Zhao, he was completely speechless. Right now, the electrical room was completely filled with arcs of electricity. Any one of them would be fatal if it landed on a normal person. But Chen Zhao didn't move at all. In the electrical room, Chen Zhao could feel that the electricity gathered in the eye of the thunder was continuously being converted into magic. Chapter 1051. Usually, there were 2 main types of damage from electricity. One was when the electricity passed through the heart and caused cardiac arrest. The other was when a strong electric current caused regional burns. Thus, normal electricity didn't harm plants because they wouldn't suffer from cardiac arrest. Of course, it was a different case if lightning struck a plant. Early transgenes actually used electricity to stimulate the cell walls of plants and break them to change genes. This was why in many sci-fi movies, people who were struck by lightning would obtain superpowers. But technology had been .d long ago because scientists knew that this method was too inefficient. The electricity Chen Zhao was facing now didn't pass through his heart. It was absorbed by the eye of the thunder. This was why Chen Zhao could avoid getting hurt. Of course, Chen Zhao's resistance to electricity was quite high. Electricity was the two most important ways to harm the human body. Since cardiac arrest and burns couldn't affect them directly, Chen Zhao was already immune to electricity. Of course, if Chen Zhao encountered an electric current that could evaporate him one day, it would be a different story. But even in the natural world, it was like a large-scale thunderstorm. Releasing billions, tens of billions, or even hundreds of billions of watts of electricity would be done over hundreds or thousands of lightning strikes. It wouldn't be released instantly. Some weaker lightning strikes in the natural world might only have a few thousand or tens of thousands of volts. Thus, natural lightning probably wouldn't be able to kill Chen Zhao. Increase, 5 million volts. Chen Zhao made another gesture. By now, the electricity in the room had almost covered the entire room. But the other connection point wasn't Chen Zhao's body. It was the eye of the thunder on his arm. Electricity would only flow in the shortest and least energy-consuming way. Chen Zhao's eye of the thunder was the shortest connection. As a result, Chen Zhao faced the power room more easily than before. The electricity in the eye of the thunder was still not full. Chen Zhao didn't know how much electricity the eye of the thunder could absorb. Chen Zhao asked Jolig to increase the voltage to 20 million volts. By now, the room was already covered in light. Standing outside, Jolig couldn't see the situation at all. Inside, Chen Zhao felt that his magic power was completely filled. But the eye of the thunder itself seemed to be a battery. It wasn't just an energy converter. It was also a battery that could be charged. Kakacha. At this moment, the console outside the power room began to smoke. Oh no! Jolig quickly cut the switch. Chen Zhao was enjoying the process, because he felt that after his magic was filled up, it seemed to be transforming it. But this process was suddenly interrupted. Chen Zhao walked out of the power room and looked at Jolig in annoyance. Why did you suddenly stop? President, it's a short circuit, Jolig said helplessly. How long will it take? I'm guessing that the circuit is completely fried. It might take a few days to fix. Jolig was afraid of Chen Zhao. In an environment that could kill almost all living things, Chen Zhao was completely unharmed. He was awed by this terrifying ability. Forget it. Let me know when the power room can be used again. Chen Zhao felt the magic in his body. He felt light as a feather. The weight of his body seemed to have decreased a lot. When one's magic power reached a certain level, it could lift one's body. Chen Zhao felt that he wasn't far from that direction. Actually, Chen Zhao was quite envious of Gaia. She was the only one in the association who could fly on her own. Chen Zhao wasn't the only one. Everyone in the association was envious of Gaia. Chen Zhao felt that he had to work hard too. So that one day, he would be able to soar in the sky without any assistance. Teacher. Seeing Chen Zhao come out, Ritter Grove walked over. Great, help me test it. Test what? Speed, Chen Zhao said. Find a stopwatch. Oh, my phone is fine, Ritter Grove said. Chen Zhao and Ritter Grove arrived at the field. You call the start. Ritter Grove adjusted the stopwatch on his phone. Ready, start. Chen Zhao dashed out like an arrow. 1 second, 2 seconds, Chen Zhao had already finished a 200-meter field. Ritter Grove's mouth hung open. He stood there, stunned. He completely forgot to press the stopwatch to end. Fast, it was simply too fast. He felt like Chen Zhao had completely turned into a bolt of lightning. Even the fastest sports car he'd ever seen had never been this fast. How is it? How much? Teacher. I forgot to press it. You're too fast and the distance is too short, Ritter Grove said. This field isn't good for testing. Then let's test on the road outside the headquarters, Chen Zhao said. Chen Zhao and Ritter Grove chose a road that was 20 kilometers long. It was a forest road that led directly to the headquarters, so there wouldn't be any outsiders other than the association members. Under Ritter Grove's command, Chen Zhao sprinted out. Chen Zhao released his speed without holding anything back. Even Chen Zhao found it hard to control his speed. Suddenly, a car appeared in front of him. Unable to control his direction, Chen Zhao crashed into the car. Boom! The car was smashed into pieces and a figure flew out. Oh no! Chen Zhao hurriedly stopped himself and looked back at the smashed car. Then he saw Gaia standing beside the scrap metal, her entire body burning with flames. Chen, did you attack me just now? Chen Zhao's expression was helpless. I was testing my speed. I didn't expect to crash into your car. Gaia was speechless. She didn't see it clearly either. She thought that it was an attack. But it was actually Chen Zhao testing his speed. Gaia looked back at the smashed car. You have to pay me. Chen Zhao wanted to cry. So unlucky. Ritter, what are you doing here? West came to Ritter's side. He realized that Ritter was holding his phone, as if waiting for something. I'm helping teacher test her speed, Ritter Grove said. A few minutes later, Chen Zhao returned with Gaia beside him. Didn't you say you were testing the president's speed? Why is he strolling? Why is he dragging a wrecked car? I don't know. Ritter Grove was also confused. West walked up. President, what's with this car? It looks like Gaia's car. Was she attacked? Who did it? Who dared to attack someone from the association? Should I call for help? When West said this, he was very confident. The current supernatural organization was different from the past. Chapter 1052. It's Chen. He crashed my car like this. Gaia glared at Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao shrugged helplessly. I couldn't control my speed just now. It's almost impossible to change directions at that speed. But it's too dangerous to test on the road like that, Gaia said. If it wasn't my car and someone else was in the car, they might die on the spot. It's not easy to test on the HQ field, Chen Zhao said. The distance is too short and it's a circular track. I can't unleash my full speed. The circular track had to turn. If Chen Zhao ran at high speed, he might deviate from the track. Whatever, I want to see your result too. I'll block the road, Gaia said. You can start again. Gaia went to the other end of the road. Klaus flew the helicopter and hovered in the sky. Many people in the association came out to watch. Chen Zhao prepared himself with a professional start. West fired a shot into the sky. Chen Zhao shot through the air like an arrow. Everyone behind him felt a gust of air pass by. Compared to the first time, Chen Zhao was more relaxed. He focused fully on running. The trees on both sides of the road kept retreating. Gaia, who was 20 kilometers away, could already see Chen Zhao running toward her. It was a ball of fire that was charging forward, bringing with it an oppressive feeling. When Chen Zhao reached Gaia and turned around, he was still pushed dozens of meters away by inertia. Only then did he turn again. Then he turned again and sprinted forward. Gaia wanted to compete in speed, so when Chen Zhao turned around, she also ran out. But Chen Zhao passed her in the blink of an eye. At the same time, she couldn't even see his back. Whoosh, Chen Zhao crossed the finish line with a gust of air. Lit Grove also pressed the stopwatch. How was it? How long did I take to run 40 kilometers? Chen Zhao asked when he returned to Lit Grove. 301 seconds. Minus the time to change directions, it's 300 seconds, or 5 minutes. Everyone gasped. He'd run 40 kilometers in 5 minutes. No one could run faster than that on land, right? Running 8 kilometers in a minute was about 130 meters in a second. This meant that Chen Zhao's speed was around 480 kilometers per hour. Not long after, Gaia also returned. Chen, you're too fast. Gaia exhaled. Everyone thought so as well. Gaia had wanted to compete with Chen Zhao in terms of speed, but the result made her despair. Chen Zhao's speed was probably only comparable to the fastest train. Chen, what would happen if you collided with a train? I haven't. Chen Zhao shook his head. But I never want to try it. According to calculations, the train will deviate from the track due to the impact, and the front will be completely destroyed, Lisa said. She also looked at Chen Zhao as if she was looking at a monster. That shouldn't be the case. My strength is indeed great, but the train's strength should be even greater. I shouldn't be able to run into the train. Chen Zhao estimated that his strength could reach around 150 tons. This kind of power might be powerful enough for a living creature. But for some machines, it was far from enough. That's not how it's calculated. The greatest force of a train is about 200 tons of kinetic energy when it starts. After accelerating to a certain speed, the kinetic energy is converted into potential energy. Because of inertia, some Hercules can pull a locomotive, and a fully loaded train can have a potential energy of up to 10,000 tons. However, this potential energy is a linear motion. Compared to a train, the impact of the president is a point impact. Lisa glanced at the completely wrecked car beside her. Just like this car, if the president collides with the train, the metal layer of the front will be pierced. Then the impact will spread and destroy the train's potential energy balance, causing the train to derail. Everyone was confused. They felt that Lisa's words were very sophisticated, but they didn't understand a single thing. Chen, do you remember that you fell from 7,000 meters into the water tower and came out unscathed? Gaia asked. Hearing Gaia's words, Lisa looked at him with an even stranger expression. He didn't die from a fall of 7,000 meters? Do you want to challenge higher up in the sky? Air. No. Come and give it a try. Don't be too high, just 100 meters will do. I can't die from a fall of 7,000 meters. 100 meters shouldn't be a threat, right? I'm not talking about landing on the water. I'm talking about landing on the ground. Air. 100 meters is too high. Let's go with 10 meters. Everyone rolled their eyes. 10 meters. If Chen Zhao jumped with all his might, he could probably reach more than 10 meters. I'll take you up. Gaia turned into a fire dragon. Grabbing Chen Zhao, she charged into the sky. Enough, enough. Too high, too high. It's more than 50 meters now. Don't go higher. Chen Zhao panicked. Chen, ready. I'm going to release. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Aw. Chen Zhao screamed and started falling down. Aw. Aw, bang. Chen Zhao's feet landed firmly on the ground, completely unharmed. But by then, the cement ground had already cracked. Chen, how do you feel? Gaia landed beside Chen Zhao. You're just bullying me because I can't fly, Chen Zhao said, depressed. Let's try the height of 200 meters, Gaia said eagerly. No. Don't resist. I'll take you up. Helplessly, Chen Zhao was dragged into the air by Gaia again. Chen Zhao screamed again and fell to the ground. This time, a spiderweb-like crack appeared on the ground. You're unscathed from 200 meters. Let's try a higher altitude, Gaia said. There's no need to try. For a normal adult, falling from a height of about 200 meters due to gravity is already their limit. Going any higher won't produce a greater impact. Since the president is unharmed after falling from a height of 200 meters, he won't be harmed no matter how high he falls. Are 200 meters and 10,000 meters the same? The impact of potential energy is the same. At least in the case of the same falling posture, there is no difference between the two. There's a limit to the acceleration of gravity and air resistance. It's impossible to accelerate infinitely. Does that mean that even if Chen falls from outer space, he'll be unharmed? If the president can survive in outer space and withstand the pressure difference and variable values of the air currents, he won't die even if he falls from outer space. Chapter 1053. President, I can get a space shuttle, West said. Do you want to try it? Fuck off, Chen Zhao said, glaring at West. You'll die for no reason tonight. Everyone felt regretful that they couldn't watch Chen Zhao fall from outer space like a human meteor. West looked at Chen Zhao's back. I really don't know if human weapons can kill the president. Nuclear bombs should be possible, someone said. Chen Zhao paused and turned to look at West. I can't get a nuclear bomb. West was really afraid that if he said he could get a nuclear bomb, Chen Zhao would kill him right away. In reality, Chen Zhao knew his own limits. He wasn't as unkillable as imagined. Even without nuclear weapons, there were many conventional weapons that could hurt or kill him. For example, some guns and large-caliber sniper rifles could break Chen Zhao's defense. There was also the legendary metal storm. Chen Zhao had seen quite a few guns by now. But he still hadn't seen Metal Storm, the legendary terrifying machine gun with a firing rate of 1 million bullets per minute. It could even turn a tank into scrap metal. Chen Zhao knew that his defense definitely couldn't compare to a tank. There were also all sorts of modern weapons that could hurt Chen Zhao. For example, explosive bombs, armor-piercing bombs, and air-fuel bullets. These conventional weapons could kill Chen Zhao. Stop trying to kill me. If you want to play, then everyone can do it together. I'll do the same to you. That's only fair. Everyone immediately gave up on the idea. Their experiments on Chen Zhao might not have any results. But if Chen Zhao experimented on them, there would definitely be results. Where are you going? Give me a ride. Teacher, where are you going? To school. The principal forced me to take a troublesome job. Now, I have to go to school every day. At the school, Lit Grove opened the door for Chen Zhao. Teacher, please get off. Chen Zhao rubbed his forehead. I have my own hands. Don't open the door for me. It's like you're from a gang. I'm a student and you're a teacher. Isn't it natural for me to obey you? Lit Grove wasn't ashamed. Instead, he was proud. With such a lackey by his side, Chen Zhao was too embarrassed to walk around the school anymore. After strolling around the school, he left in a hurry. In the past, Chen Zhao had thought that a rich second generation with a lackey was pretty cool. Now, he only felt awkward, truly awkward. At this moment, in the Staples Center in Los Angeles, an intense match was taking place. Ruby and Duba were sitting on the sidelines. Because of their injuries, they had missed 2 consecutive games. Of course, as members of the HR team, their thirst for victory was the same. So even though they were substitutes, they still cheered for their teammates on the sidelines. In fact, both of their injuries were almost healed. It had to be said that after Chen Zhao's treatment, they indeed recovered quite well. Of course, the main reason was that their injuries weren't very serious to begin with. Coupled with the timely treatment, they recovered very well. In fact, they were almost ready to play, but because of the conflict within the team, Coach Simpson still had some complaints about them and kept them on the bench. However, the situation on the court was not optimistic. It was already the third quarter, but their team was 12 points behind. Of course, anything could happen on the court. However, the chances of this happening were not high. Duba was a functional player, while Ruby was a star player. The two of them were very useful on the field. Now that they were absent, the HR team's matches were extremely difficult. Especially against strong opponents, victory or defeat could be decided by a hair's breadth. Pass, pass. Ruby stood up and yelled at his teammates, "Beautiful, three-pointer." They had caught up by 3 points, but the situation did not improve. The HR team was being suppressed. Just then, in a collision, a member of the HR team was knocked to the ground. Foul, foul. Ruby, Duba, and the other substitutes all yelled. The referee also gave a foul and a free throw. However, after that member of the HR team got up from the ground, he kept holding his shoulder. "Kohler, are you okay?" "Coach, I think my shoulder is dislocated." Kohler's expression was very painful. Doctor." Simpson asked for a timeout and took Kohler off the field. The doctor ran over and checked Kohler's injury. "How is it? Is Kohler okay?" The doctor shook his head with a serious expression. "He seems to have an injury to his shoulder blade. He can't continue playing and needs treatment." "Is it serious?" "It's very serious. He can't continue playing, even Kohler's entire season." The doctor shook his head and said. Everyone's faces were covered with a layer of shadow. Kohler's position on the court was very important. He was the core. If he couldn't play, they would definitely lose this match. More importantly, if he was gone for the entire season, then the HR team would very likely lose the chance to compete for the championship. "Give me pain relief. It hurts, it hurts." "Doctor, give me pain relief." The doctor looked at Simpson. Pain relief wasn't something that could be used casually. Even the doctor couldn't make the decision. Normally, if a player was injured on the court, then they had to first diagnose it before deciding whether or not to use morphine. If it was a minor injury, then even if it hurt to death, it shouldn't be used. Because if morphine was used, then it definitely wouldn't pass the urine test. There were oral pain relievers, but they definitely weren't as effective as morphine. "Let's go to the hospital for a checkup first." Although Simpson was also very anxious, he still resisted and didn't let Kohler use the pain reliever. The match started again, but they had lost another star player on the court. The situation was even more one-sided. Simpson's voice was hoarse from all the shouting, but in the face of such a crushing defeat, he was powerless. In the last minute, the score difference was 20 points. This was the worst loss they had suffered in the past 3 seasons. The HR team had always been a strong team in the NBA. It had always been them crushing others, but no one had ever crushed them. But in today's match, the HR team's dignity had been completely lost. In the last minute of the match, other than Simpson who was still shouting at the top of his lungs, the other players on the bench had already calmed down. At this time, Kohler was no longer shouting in pain. He had been sitting on the bench the whole time, but he kept sweating. Professional players had the qualities of professional players. He also knew that there was no way to stop the pain before going to the hospital. At this time, Ruby came to Kohler's side. Chapter 1054. Is it reliable? Kohler was Ruby's good friend. But it was also because he knew Ruby that Kohler was skeptical of Ruby's so-called ointment. Ruby had always been known as an unreliable person in the eyes of the public. That was because people didn't know Ruby well. People who really knew Ruby would never think that Ruby was unreliable. He was more than unreliable. He was simply a senseless idiot. In order to win an important match the next day, he had actually begged a certain wizard. He spent a whole $100,000, but he still lost the game the next day. In the end, he went straight to the wizard's place. This was a real case, but the name was different. In the end, it was brought to the police station. Although this matter was not widely exposed. Although this incident wasn't widely publicized, many players in the circle knew about it. So Kohler's impression of Ruby was that he could be a friend, but he wasn't trustworthy. Because most of the time, Ruby used a very sincere attitude to help his friends, but in the end, he always hurt his friends. You know the last time I fought with Duke, right? Kohler nodded. I know. At that time, a Chinese doctor came. He was the one who healed me and Duke's injuries and sold me this bottle of ointment, Ruby said. He said that no matter what the injury was, as long as I used this ointment, it would definitely heal. Really? Really? Ruby bragged very seriously. Try it. Kohler felt that Ruby was unreliable, but most of the time, he had a similar personality. Ruby opened the bottle and then wiped it on Kohler's shoulder. Hiss, so comfortable, phew. Kohler's whole body shivered. It was so comfortable, especially after the pain. The feeling made Kohler almost obsessed with this feeling. The cold touch seeped into his skin, but it didn't have the stimulation of some drugs. It seemed that something was slowly intertwining in his injured area. It filled the injured area and moisturized the skin. Phew, so comfortable, so comfortable. Kohler was so comfortable that he was about to fall asleep. But the whistle at the end of the game still pulled him back to reality. When Kohler saw the final score, he showed a hint of disappointment. Although he already knew the result. But seeing such a score, he still couldn't accept it. The final difference was 22 points. Simpson walked over and said, Kohler, let's go, I'll take you to the hospital. Kohler walked out of the arena with the help of the staff. 30 minutes later, Kohler and Simpson were at the hospital. Under Simpson's arrangement, Kohler was quickly examined. Then, he went to see the orthopedic doctor. Mr. Kohler, your situation is not looking good. The orthopedic doctor said, your scapula has a serious contusion, soft tissue has fallen off, and there is a hematoma. By the way, did you take an anesthetic before? No, why? Strange, this kind of injury should be very painful, right? Why don't you feel any pain at all? My brother applied some pain-killing ointment on me earlier. Really? What brand of ointment? Generally speaking, only anesthetics can temporarily relieve your pain, but your injuries don't seem to bring you any pain at all. Doctor, can you tell me about Kohler's current condition, the treatment process, and the recovery period? Simpson could not help but interrupt the doctor's question. Okay. The doctor looked at Kohler. Now, raise your left arm and see how high you can lift it. Kohler raised his arm. The doctor was a little surprised. Your injury is so serious, but you don't feel any pain at all. A little pain, Kohler said. Just a little pain. The orthopedic doctor was still confused. If the nerves are injured and there is regional paralysis, it should be a feeling of soreness and numbness. But you feel pain, but it's not very painful. That's too strange. Mr. Kohler, do you want to do a neurological examination? Yes, Simpson answered in place of Kohler. Half an hour later, the neurological examination report came out. The orthopedic doctor took the examination report and carefully looked it up and down. There was nothing wrong with it. It looked normal. Doctor, my injury seems to be starting to hurt. It's getting stronger. Kohler started to hurt again. What pain? A stinging, stinging feeling. That's right. It seems that my analysis is correct. It's possible that your nerves were temporarily paralyzed before, so you didn't feel much pain. Now, the pain nerves are reacting. Doctor, I'm in pain now. Why are you so happy? Doctor, hurry up and prescribe medicine and treatment for me. Your injury is not easy to treat. The doctor looked troubled again. Why is it not easy to treat? We need to do surgery to release the clotted blood from your shoulder and repair your shoulder blade. How long is the recovery period? 3 months. Is there no way to speed it up? Simpson's expression was more pained than Kohler's. The HR team he led had done quite well this season. They were already halfway through the preseason and were now ranked second in the league. They were only 4 points behind first place. If they were lucky, they could catch up in 2 matches. But without Kohler, they might not even be able to keep second place, let alone catch up to first place. No matter what, give me some pain first. It hurts. Mr. Kohler, this is the most troublesome part. You need to clear your blood, so you can't use anesthetics. But I'm in a lot of pain right now. Kohler's expression became more and more pained. Mr. Kohler, if you want to recover quickly, you can only endure it. Okay, when can I do the surgery? Tomorrow night at the earliest. What? Are you saying I have to endure this pain for a day and a night? Actually, it's not just a day and a night. There's no anesthetics during and after the surgery, only painkillers, the orthopedic doctor said. Give me some painkillers first. I really can't take it anymore. I feel like I'm going to go crazy. Kohler was quickly arranged to be admitted to the hospital, but because the injury was on his shoulder, he couldn't lie down and could only lie on the bed. He couldn't sleep in this position, and the hospital bed was too small. He was almost 2 meters tall, so he couldn't even put down his ankle. Coupled with the pain in his shoulder, he was about to go crazy. In this painful torture, Kohler suddenly remembered the ointment Ruby applied on him in the arena. Kohler struggled to pick up the phone on the table next to him. Chapter 1055. Kohler, wait for me. I'm coming. Ruby soon arrived at the hospital. As a basketball player, Ruby was often injured in confrontations. He had also experienced serious injuries like Kohler's, and some injuries couldn't be anesthetized. So he understood Kohler's feelings and pain very well. Hi, Kohler, are you okay? I'm going to die soon. I'm really going to die. Kohler lay on the bed, his face full of pain. It's okay. Your pain will soon go away. Ruby stepped forward and helped Kohler apply the ointment. Kohler's shoulder was moisturized by the ointment, and the pain suddenly disappeared. Not only did it disappear, but it was also very comfortable. It was the same feeling as before. It was a wonderful feeling. It feels so good. Kohler's body and mind became happy. Ruby, leave the ointment for me. I'll give it to you. That's all, Ruby said. That's all. No, this is what I have left. Ruby knew this feeling. He had also used this ointment. After applying the ointment, his flesh and bones were stimulated. The refreshing feeling that penetrated his body and mind spread to all his nerves. Kohler looked back. In the bottle in Ruby's hand, the ointment was almost empty. It could barely be used again. Then go buy another bottle. No, buy a few more bottles, Kohler said. I don't even have the doctor's contact information. Besides, this bottle is $200,000. Are you crazy? $200,000 for this bottle of ointment? You can buy 10,000 bottles with just a little. But can a pharmacy have this good effect? Kohler was silent. Indeed, this bottle of ointment seemed to be specially made for him. His pain was greatly alleviated. Is there a way to find the doctor? I'll ask the coach later. The coach found me. Just then, the doctor came in from outside. What are you doing? The doctor saw Ruby applying the ointment to Kohler. Ruby rolled her eyes. Can't you see? I'm applying ointment to my brother. Do you know what you're doing? You're obstructing Mr. Kohler's treatment. Don't you know that patients can't use non-prescription drugs? I've already used it. What can I do? Ruby said disapprovingly. You are breaking the law. The doctor was very angry. No doctor would like their patients to receive treatment that was not part of their plan. I'm just giving my brother pain relief, Ruby said unhappily. I can't use painkillers either. What kind of painkillers are you using? What brand is it? What about the logo? What are the ingredients? This is a private recipe. Personal formula. You know that private individuals are not allowed to dispense medicine, right? The FDA's management was very strict. Private prescriptions were not allowed, especially for others. I've already used it. What do you want? Give me the medicine. I want to analyze its ingredients. If it contains illegal ingredients, you and the producer of this medicine will be in trouble. Ruby stuck out her middle finger. Who do you think you are? Why should I give you ointment? Ruby was reckless, but he was not stupid. The item was in his hands, so why should he give it to someone else? He even wanted to use it as evidence. The doctor was also a little angry. Then I refused to treat him. If you don't want to treat me, then don't. Do you think I want to treat you? Kohler was also angry. He felt that the doctor was completely incompetent. He had suffered such a serious injury. But the doctor did not give him pain relief and even said that it was for his own good. Ruby tilted his head and asked, Kohler, are you serious? Yes, take me away from here. Didn't you say that you know that doctor? Ask him to treat me. Mr. Kohler, it's best if you don't leave the hospital. Your injury is very serious. Our hospital has the best equipment, and I'm also an authority in orthopedics. You can't find a better doctor than me in Los Angeles. If you leave now, your treatment might be delayed, which will affect your career. How could Kohler lower his head at this time? Even if I retire now, I don't want you to treat me. Anyway, Kohler was not in pain now, so he became tough. Besides, he was not the only hospital in Los Angeles. There was no better orthopedic doctor in the world. The doctor's face turned red. You can go. Don't blame me if the treatment is delayed. With that, the doctor waved his hand and left. Kohler, are you really leaving? Why should I stay? I've already said it. It'll be more embarrassing if I stay. Pack up. Let's go. Most people who played sports were honest boys. They valued their reputation more than anything else. Ruby helped Kohler carry his bag and helped him leave. While waiting for the elevator, the orthopedic doctor appeared again. Mr. Kohler, are you really not going to treat me? I don't need your treatment. Don't appear before me again. I'm the best orthopedic doctor. If you don't get better soon, pretend I didn't say anything. Ruby looked at Kohler. Kohler wanted to treat her, but he could not take back his words. Just then, the elevator door opened. Ruby looked up and her face was filled with ecstasy. Mr. Chen, Ruby called out in surprise. Chen Zhao looked at Ruby. Who are you? It was not that Chen Zhao was rude or looked down on Ruby, but he was a bit face-blind. He did not recognize Ruby. Ruby immediately said, I'm Ruby. Did you forget? I'm Ruby from the HR team. You treated me before. Oh. I remember. Chen Zhao remembered, but he still could not remember Ruby's face. Chen Zhao only knew two black people. One was the police officer, Melson. The other was the taxi driver, Vincent. Of course, in Chen Zhao's heart, Vincent was a real movie star. Mr. Chen, this is my brother, Kohler. He's injured. Can you treat him? I don't have time, Chen Zhao rejected without thinking. Ruby did not give up. Mr. Chen, as long as you're willing to treat him, I'm willing to pay a high price. 500,000, okay. Chen Zhao was about to leave when he stopped. Do you have the report? Yes. Ruby helped Kohler take out the report and gave it to Chen Zhao. The injury is serious. The treatment and recovery will take 2 weeks. Wait, sir, which hospital are you from? Your behavior is against a doctor's ethics. Do you know that? The orthopedic doctor looked at Chen Zhao, dissatisfied. Who is he? He was originally Kohler's main doctor, Ruby said. But we've already rejected his treatment plan. Oh, then ignore him. Send your brother home. He'll start treatment tomorrow. Is there a problem? No, Ruby said happily. Chapter 1056. Go ask your dean if he has any objections, Chen Zhao said indifferently. Then come and talk to me. Just then, a doctor walked over. Hi, Mr. Chen. Hello. Hello. Chen Zhao knew this doctor. He'd been Hoffman's main doctor and the person who doubted Chen Zhao. He seemed to be called Crete. Chen Zhao had met him a few times later. They didn't have any conflicts, so they were friends. Mr. Chen, I have a patient with a heart problem, Crete asked. Can you take a look at him? I don't have much time, Chen Zhao said. Give me the report. Crete was overjoyed. He immediately passed the report to Chen Zhao. This patient's heart bypass didn't seem to be successful. Yes, our hospital didn't do it, but we can't be sure what's wrong. It's probably a battery leakage, Chen Zhao said. It's best to arrange surgery as soon as possible to repair the pacemaker. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chen. Crete was very happy. Chen Zhao nodded and turned to leave. Crete, you know that Asian? Yes, he's a very good doctor. Hearing this, the orthopedic doctor's expression darkened. He's a heart specialist. He's good at every medical field, and he's almost always the best, Crete said. He's helped me look at a few patients' cases. As long as he's seen the patient or read the report, he can almost determine the patient's condition and give the corresponding treatment plan. Ruby and Kohler's eyes lit up when they heard this. It seemed like they'd found the right person. Chen Zhao arrived at Four's office. Her door wasn't closed. He knocked. Hi, Four. Why are you here? Win Nip asked you to eat at my place tonight. You could have just called. Why did you come to the hospital? It's on the way. Win Nip also asked me to pick you up. Okay, give me 20 minutes. I'll finish my work. It didn't take long for Four to finish what she was doing. Let's go. Chen Zhao drove the car with Four. Four was speechless. Chen, you also break the traffic rules sometimes. No. Chen Zhao decisively rejected Four's request. Chen Zhao's driving was too stable. He followed all the traffic rules. The speed limit was 40 kilometers per hour, but he would only drive at 35 kilometers per hour. The zebra crossing decelerated, and the red light was 1 second slower. To be honest, Four wasn't the first to complain about Chen Zhao's driving skills. Almost everyone who had sat in Chen Zhao's car couldn't help but complain. If I didn't know you well, I would almost think that you are a well-behaved person. I've always been a law-abiding person. Hee hee, an illegal doctor claiming to be a law-abiding person. Moreover, this illegal doctor had injured at least 20 people, and at least 5 of them had died. In Four's eyes, Chen Zhao had never been someone who followed the rules. If he didn't know Chen Zhao well, he could almost be sure that Chen Zhao was a violent person just from the violent incidents he had participated in. Of course, Chen Zhao was an extremely good man in real life. At least, in Four's knowledge, Chen Zhao and Fei Lai never fought. Even if they did, he would let Fei Lai win. Especially after Fei Lai's pregnancy, her temper had also become unstable. Every time, Chen Zhao would comfort her gently and considerately. "Oh, when can my dad come out?" He should be out tomorrow," Chen Zhao said. "The police don't have concrete evidence, so they don't plan to charge Laurent." Chen Zhao really hoped that Laurent could be locked up until the end of time. "Henry, you asterisk Shoal, why am I in the same room with you?" "Oh my God, you must have been sent by God to punish me," Laurent wailed. Although he had only been locked up for a few days, Laurent had already lost a lot of weight. He knew that it was Chen Zhao's fault that he was locked up. He had originally been worried that Chen Zhao would arrange for a few burly black men to be locked up in the same room as him. But now, how he wished that his roommate was a tall and sturdy black man. Ever since Henry had entered the prison, he hadn't eaten a full meal. Even if he did, he would spit it out. You never know what he will do at mealtime. Bullshit. That was Laurent's impression of Henry. He seemed to have an endless supply of farts. He did it when he was eating and when he was sleeping. The entire prison cell was always filled with that lingering stench. Every time he farted, Laurent would definitely know. Other than the smell, there was also the sound. Henry could make earth-shattering farts every time. "Mr. Laurent, it's okay. Bear with it for one more day. You'll be free soon." Henry knew that Laurent was Chen Zhao's father-in-law. Of course, he was friendly with Laurent on the surface. But he didn't forget his mission. He had to discuss Laurent as much as possible. Pooh! There was another series of continuous sounds. Laurent felt the entire room turn turbid. Laurent covered his nose and took deep breaths at the vent. What was despair? This was despair. "Tell me, what's the secret to farting?" Laurent felt that if he could, he also wanted to learn this secret technique. Even if he couldn't beat Chen Zhao, he could at least disgust him. "Mr. Laurent, I'm afraid that no one can learn this technique." "No reason. If you can make such earth-shattering farts, I should be able to do it too." "Tell me the secret." "First, take a deep breath, then prepare it in your stomach. Relax your butt muscles and apply force in your abdomen." Laurent suddenly fell silent. "Mr. Laurent, did you learn it?" Laurent wanted to cry. He didn't want to continue this topic. He couldn't face Henry's question. What Henry produced was a fart. What he produced was, nothing was more despairing than this moment. Although he could get out tomorrow, Laurent felt like a year here. He couldn't wait to escape from here, to escape from this prison. The next day, he could finally see the light of day again. When he walked out of the cell, the first person he saw was the last person he wanted to see. Chen Zhao. Of course, Chen Zhao didn't want to see Laurent either. Laurent got into Chen Zhao's car. "Chen, you're too much this time." Chapter 1057. It was Laurent's first time going to the villa since he'd arrived in Los Angeles. "Dad, you're finally here. Where have you been these days?" "It was an emergency and I had no choice," Laurent said helplessly. "Fei Lai, your belly is so big. Sit down." "Dad, aren't you retired? What else do you need to do?" Fei Lai asked, confused. "Personal matters." No matter how much Laurent and Chen Zhao hated each other outside, they would always act so loving in front of Fei Lai. Chen Zhao didn't plan to hurt Laurent in the next 2 days either. It was New Year's Eve the day after tomorrow. No matter what, Chen Zhao wanted to have a happy holiday with Fei Lai. The day after tomorrow was New Year's Eve. No matter what, Chen Zhao wanted to have a good time with Fei Lai. For example, he would give his subordinates red packets and visit friends and relatives on the first day. Chen Zhao called Felwood Cisco and went straight to the construction site. After his previous experience, Felwood didn't panic and think that Chen Zhao was looking for trouble. With his previous experience, Felwood didn't panic anymore, thinking that Chen Zhao was looking for trouble. He knew that these 2 days were Chinese's most important traditional festival, New Year. He knew that these 2 days were the most important traditional Chinese festival, the Spring Festival. Mr. Chen, you must be joking. I think the construction team welcomes you. You can ask them if you don't believe me. Mr. Chen, you must be joking. I think the construction team would welcome you. You can ask them if you don't believe me. After all, they were quite happy to have such an employer. Giving red packets during New Year was called lucky money for the younger generation. Giving red packets during New Year was called lucky money for the younger generation. Literally, it meant that the older generation hoped that their children could grow up slowly. On the other hand, giving red packets to the subordinates was called auspicious, which meant blessing. Chen Zhao still came to give red packets to the workers himself. Most of the workers recognized Chen Zhao. Because the amount of work this time was larger than the last time, some of them were newly added. They didn't know Chen Zhao yet, but they were still very happy to know that they would receive a large sum of money. Chen Zhao remembered clearly when he got the Native American. "Hey, buddy. How are you?" "Mr. Chen, thank you." The Native American looked at Chen Zhao sincerely. He indeed needed a sum of money. Chen Zhao's red packets had indeed helped him a lot. In the United States, Native Americans were treated far worse than other races. Although the United States had laws to protect the Native Americans, most of the Native Americans still stayed in their private lands. A small number of people chose to blend into the environment, just like the Native American in front of them. Chen Zhao didn't know about Native American etiquette. In fact, each tribe had different etiquette. So he just shook the hand of the Indian worker. The Native American tapped his forehead and then scratched Chen Zhao's palm. "May Zhu embrace you, kind man. I wish you the same, my friend." After Chen Zhao gave out the red packets, the workers went back to work. Felwood Cisco walked over. "Mr. Chen, do you have any other requests regarding engineering?" "No, I just hope to finish it as soon as possible." "Of course, that's under the premise that the quality is guaranteed." "I'll supervise the whole process," Felwood said. Generally speaking, as the boss of an engineering company, Felwood Cisco did not need to supervise the whole process. However, this list was too important to him. He had to supervise the whole process. He did not want to make any mistakes and affect Chen Zhao's impression of him. On the way home, Chen Zhao suddenly remembered that they had to set off fireworks on New Year's Eve. However, the supermarket here did not sell fireworks. There were specialized stores that sold them. Chen Zhao picked up his phone and searched. He found a fireworks supermarket. After half an hour's drive, Chen Zhao took a detour to the fireworks supermarket. There were 2 or 3 Chinese people in the supermarket who were also buying fireworks. The cashiers were also Chinese. Chen Zhao started to walk around the supermarket. Suddenly, a voice sounded from behind him. "Chen Zhao." Chen Zhao turned around and saw a familiar yet strange face. Chen Zhao remembered that this woman was the same age as him. She was his high school classmate. She was also the prettiest girl in the class, but Chen Zhao really could not remember her name. It's really you, Chen Zhao. I thought I got the wrong person. The prettiest girl smiled at Chen Zhao. Did you not remember my name? Zhou Bingbing. Chen Zhao asked tentatively. The prettiest girl rolled her eyes. You really forgot. I'm Li Qiong. Ha. I was joking with you. How could I forget, prettiest girl? Chen Zhao laughed awkwardly. How come you're in America? Li Qiong looked at Chen Zhao. She was really surprised to see Chen Zhao here. Of course, Chen Zhao was surprised too. I can't live in China anymore, so I came out to harm the American people. I didn't think you were so naughty in school. How are you? Did you come out to work? Or emigrate? Emigrate. I emigrated after high school, Li Qiong said. I didn't expect that. Do you have kids now? Not yet. Single. Single. Why? Do you want to chase me? Just asking. I already have a family. Chen Zhao laughed. But you're so pretty. How can you still be single? Did you forget about the rumors in high school? Chen Zhao really did not forget about the prettiest girl in the class. It was said that Li Qiong had once said that if she wanted to find a husband in the future, she should find a rich, talented, and handsome man. She couldn't lack any of them. After all, this was in China and in high school. So, Li Qiong's reputation in school wasn't good. I can't help it. It's really hard to find a man I like in this world, Li Qiong said in self-pity. But this was also because Li Qiong was already pretty. To put it bluntly, she was a natural beauty. Plus, she had a good family background. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been able to emigrate 10 years ago. She was also the only daughter in her family, so she was like a little princess at home. But after graduating from university and working, her arrogance was gone. After all, this was America, not the rural middle school that she and Chen Zhao studied in. Here, there were many people with better family backgrounds and prettier than her. Even her family couldn't help her much here. But it was a habit that had been formed since young. How could it be changed so easily? She even called out to Chen Zhao with some pride, wanting to show off in front of him. Oh, what are you doing now? Teaching, Chen Zhao said. Teaching? That's not bad, Li Qiong said, smiling. In California, the average annual income of a teacher was more than $70,000. I couldn't tell, but your grades were so average. I didn't expect you to be a teacher abroad. Chapter 1058. You're here to buy fireworks. Yeah. It's Chinese New Year. I'm going to buy some for my wife and kids. What brand do you want? I'll help you pick. You're this shop's, my family owns it, Li Qiong said, smiling. No wonder she was here. I don't usually come here, Li Qiong added. Li Qiong added, I didn't expect to meet you, my old classmate, on this rare visit. Actually, I'm studying art. Chen Zhao bought a few $100s worth of fireworks from Li Qiong. Li Qiong accompanied him the whole time. Of course, it was also to feel a sense of superiority from Chen Zhao. By the way, do you have those fireworks that will hurt when hit but won't injure you? Chen Zhao asked. At least they won't cause large area burns. No. Fireworks are dangerous. Don't try to hit people. Fine. Chen Zhao shrugged helplessly. Are you going to play this game with your family? I hate my father-in-law, Chen Zhao admitted. But I sell protective clothing, helmets, and goggles, Li Qiong said. Some young people like to play these games too. Before leaving, Li Qiong said, give me your contact number. Let's eat together when we're free. Although Li Qiong had been out for 10 years, she still couldn't integrate into society. Chen Zhao bought protective clothing. It was actually made of similar materials and looked similar to a firefighter's uniform. When Chen Zhao returned home, Laurent also came back from outside. He also brought back a cart of fireworks and bought protective clothing, helmets, and goggles. The two looked at each other and then moved the things out of the car in silence. However, they both put the things in the basement. After all, they were flammable and not suitable to be placed at home. Indeed, only enemies understood their enemies. When Chen Zhao returned to the living room, Zhilin had already run over to Laurent. "Grandpa, my little baby." Laurent immediately put on a smile and picked up little Zhilin. Chen Zhao mumbled, "She's my daughter." "Why is she so close to you?" "She's also my granddaughter." "What does it have to do with you?" Laurent said matter-of-factly. "Baby, look what I bought for you. Do you like it?" Zhilin pecked Laurent's face. Half of Laurent's face was covered in saliva. Chen Zhao pouted. Laurent hugged Zhilin and said, "Chen, I think we shouldn't do fireworks. I think it's dangerous." Laurent was mainly concerned about little Zhilin and the pregnant Feilai. Chen Zhao thought for a moment and then nodded. "Don't play tricks on me before and after Chinese New Year. Temporary peace." On the 29th of the old calendar, Chen Zhao went to the headquarters of the association again to give out red packets to the people there. In the past 2 days, Laurent and Chen Zhao had been fighting openly and secretly, but it was only verbal. In front of Feilai, they still maintained their poise and friendliness. Chen Zhao even specially ordered a little red robe for Zhilin. She looked especially cute in the robe. There were even 2 buns on her head as accessories. For the past 2 days, Laurent had completely fallen under Zhilin's cuteness. All he did was take pictures of little Zhilin with his phone. Little Zhilin leaned on the princess's back and took pictures. Little Zhilin sat by the lake, holding Samuel and taking pictures. Little Zhilin drank milk and took pictures. Laurent would take pictures of whatever little Zhilin did. He was completely obsessed. It was said that the zither of time was completely reflected by Laurent. "Grandpa, I want a pot." "What is little Zhilin saying?" Laurent nudged Chen Zhao beside him. "Zhilin wants to set off firecrackers," Chen Zhao said. Because it was the 29th today, Chen Zhao would throw out a string of firecrackers every once in a while. However, he didn't let Zhilin get close because he was afraid that he would hurt her. Zhilin wasn't afraid at all. She was just like that. She was completely fearless. "Then get her a firecracker," Laurent said. Chen Zhao shook his head. "No. She's still too young. She doesn't understand the danger." "It's okay. I'll watch," Laurent said. "I said no. I said I'll watch. I won't let Zhilin get hurt. What if you're not here and I'm not here? What if Zhilin plays by herself? How can you be like this?" "I'm like this." Just then, Feilai came downstairs. "Dad, Chen, what are you arguing about?" "No, we're talking about what to eat tonight." The festive period was about the atmosphere. On New Year's Eve, Kareem, Howard, and Kane, who were staying at the hotel, also came. They were all busy. It seemed like they couldn't stop for the day. The atmosphere was easily contagious. Laurent hugged Zhilin and set off firecrackers outside. The pets were also very active because they could eat whatever they wanted. If they wanted to eat, they would run to the kitchen. Either Four or Winnip would throw them a piece of food. Chen Zhao was rather free these 2 days too. He didn't care about anything. Laurent didn't give him any trouble either. Chen Zhao also prepared a table of New Year's Eve dinner for the pets. The whole family sat together happily, eating and drinking while chatting about all sorts of things. Chen, I heard that you're going to build a new house. Yes, I do. You asterisk Shoal, don't you know how to save money? Lauren found a chance to rebuke Chen Zhao. After coming to America, I learned your habits. Chen Zhao shrugged. Instant consumption. That's what you Americans think. Money will keep depreciating if it's in the bank, so I can only invest in land to preserve it. But I heard that there are sharks in the beach you bought. Shark fins are delicious. It's illegal to catch sharks. Self-defense isn't illegal. Okay, stop arguing, Winnip said. Chen, you made a lot of money from wine last year, right? Fei Lai and I earned it together, Chen Zhao said, holding Fei Lai's hand. Actually, Fei Lai took most of the credit for the vineyard. Why don't you expand the scale this year? Your wine is in short supply in our supermarket. Winnip, rare things are more valuable. You're a businessman, so you should know this better than me, Chen Zhao said. If you make too much wine, it'll become less valuable. The supply will always be less than the demand. That's the only way to keep the product's value stable and even increase in value. Winnip could personally feel the benefits that aged wine brought to the supermarket. However, it mainly attracted marginal customers because they were all rich. She didn't just need rich people, but also middle-class people. They were the real high-quality customers that could bring profits to the supermarket. Chapter 1059. Usually, fireworks needed the approval of the local government. In order to set off the fireworks, Chen Zhao also went to get a permit from the town government. It wasn't a public fireworks display, but it was still a medium-sized one. Plus, thousands of dollars of fireworks wasn't a small amount. Chen Zhao, Kareem, Howard, and Kane spent 2 days sitting on a simple wooden platform on the lake. The whole family gathered in the front yard. The beautiful fireworks rose above the lake and were reflected on it at the same time. The scene was as beautiful as a poem. Little Jerlin leaned in Chen Zhao's arms, her eyes wide open. She stared blankly at the flowers blooming one after another. After a while, Jerlin began to squeal excitedly. Chen Zhao held Fei Lai with one hand. He was filled with satisfaction. Everyone's heart was at peace and at peace. It was a subtle atmosphere. The whole family just stood there. They enjoyed this moment of contentment. After the fireworks, everyone gathered at another table and began to chat while eating and drinking. Chen, what meat is this? It tastes good. Beef? Isn't it, pork? Winnip asked in confusion. No, it's not a common animal, Chen Zhao said. Can you provide it to the supermarket? Winnip asked. No, Chen Zhao said helplessly. It's too rare. Chen Zhao's spatial ring stored a few hundred tons of meat from magical creatures or hell creatures. But if it was to be provided to the supermarket, it wouldn't be enough. For example, Mara's supermarket sold almost 30 tons of meat a day. Americans loved meat very much. It was an indispensable food on America's dining table. It was also the biggest meat consumer. America consumed 40 million tons of meat every year. What did this mean? It was equivalent to 100 kilograms of human meat every year. You can't supply it. Yes. Chen Zhao nodded. I don't even have enough for 1% of the supermarket's needs. I'll leave it for my family. Okay. Winnip wasn't an unreasonable person. She was only trying it out with a probing attitude. At night, Chen Zhao said to Fei Lai, I'm going out for 24 hours tomorrow. Some special friends need me to visit too. Okay, I understand. The next day, Chen Zhao went to hell. It was Beelzebub Zophi who had summoned him to hell. When Chen Zhao arrived in hell, he realized that he didn't go to Obsidian Castle today. Glancing around, this was also a castle, but the scale was much smaller than Obsidian Castle. "Hi Lord, why didn't you summon me at Obsidian Castle today?" Beelzebub Zophi stood before Chen Zhao. Obsidian Castle is being renovated and expanded. Obsidian Castle is already so big. Do you still want to expand it? Because my territory has doubled, so of course I have to double the size of the castle. That makes sense. Chen Zhao took out a large pile of octopus and twisted monster meat. It's for you. For me. Beelzebub Zophi looked at Chen Zhao in confusion. Today is the first day after the festival in my hometown. According to the local customs, we have to visit our relatives and friends on the first day and give gifts. I see. I'll accept it then. These things were nothing to Beelzebub Zophi. However, Chen Zhao couldn't not give a gift just because it was nothing. Chen Zhao's gift was still his sincerity. I heard from Abidos that you've declared war on other lords again. That's right. Zophi didn't hide it. That lord is just a demon without any subordinates, but he has a spring of life. Spring of life. That spring water that can directly increase the vitality of living creatures. It's a treasure that only I can occupy. Those lowly bastards don't have the right to have it. Chen Zhao was interested. He didn't care who Zophi declared war on. If demons didn't fight, would they still be demons? This was their nature. Chen Zhao was more interested in the spring of life. How much vitality can it increase? The vitality of any living creature represented the person's lifespan. Not necessarily. For example, if I drink enough spring of life, I can increase my lifespan by 3,000 years. Chen Zhao sucked in a breath of cold air. How long could you have lived? 5,000 years. Such a greater demon overlord could casually live for as long as the history of mankind. What if it's a human? I don't know. No human has ever drunk the spring of life. Different species and different demons drink the spring of life and obtain different vitality. Some demons drink the spring of life and obtain a mere 1 or 2 years of life. There's a limited amount of spring of life, right? I don't know exactly how much, but I'll reserve some for you, Zophi said. Thank you, then. Chen Zhao didn't have to worry about not having enough food at Zophi's place. Zophi and Oris's appetites were dozens of times bigger than Chen Zhao's. When night fell in hell, Chen Zhao sat on a platform in the castle, playing the zither. Just then, he heard a voice behind him. The music suddenly stopped and the voice came from behind. Why did you stop? Come and drink. This is the wine I brewed. Chen Zhao turned around and saw the handsome young man standing there quietly. Under the crimson moon, the light shone on him, but he seemed so holy. How come you're here? The handsome man asked curiously. It's a festival in my hometown. On the first day after the festival, I'm going to visit my family and friends, so I'm here to drink with you. The handsome man sat before Chen Zhao and picked up the glass to drink. I know you must have drunk better wine than this, but don't say it's bad. No, it's very good, the handsome man said. The Tower of Trials you gave me last time was very interesting and useful. Thank you. No, it's not a gift, so you shouldn't say thank you. The handsome man took out his phone and handed it to Chen Zhao. You can contact me with this phone and talk to me. Human and hell. Yes, I found someone to make it. Chen Zhao took the phone and tried dialing the only number saved in it, 666. The phone rang from the handsome man. Just then, the handsome man suddenly looked behind Chen Zhao. The owner of this place is here. I should go. Oh, goodbye. Talk to you later. Okay. Talk to you later. Just then, Beelzebub Sophie walked over from behind. Human, were you playing a musical instrument from the human world just now? Yeah. Do you want to listen? Forget it. I can't appreciate it. At the moment, a certain person was in the sky, muttering, so tasteless. Sophie didn't know what was going on in a certain person's mind. If he did, he would probably pee his pants. You're going back to the human world soon, right? I have some things here. Bring them to Abitos for me. Sure. Chen Zhao agreed quickly, but when he saw what Beelzebub Sophie had prepared, his face darkened. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.